There's nothing like it. It's Championship Sunday in the SEC.
I love the SEC baseball tournament.
I think Hoover is probably my favorite week of the year.
Dykeman's done it again. Deep to left field. It is gone. The Tigers red hot going into an SEC championship game. Spanberger's done it.
He's on a different planet right now.
Burger bombs, 19 of them.
Two legitimate national title teams.
Special group playing at the highest of their capabilities right now. It's a lot of fun to watch.
Welcome to Hoover, Alabama, and welcome to the SEC on ESPN. Tournament game number 17, our 20th consecutive year here at the Met, and we've never seen anything quite like this. Carson Shaddy in Arkansas flipping over a chance for their first title. LSU wearing that championship gold today. Here's how they got here. Dominating fashion. Both run rule victories over really good teams. LSU blanked South Carolina. Arkansas pounded Florida, and one of their aces right out of the building. So there's this now. Welcome, everybody. Got a great crew with you today and great teams on the field, a great production staff. Tom Hart alongside Chris Burke and Kyle Peterson. It seems when LSU gets to Hoover, it just means more to Paul Mainieri and his squad, and the numbers show it this week.
They have steamrolled through this entire tournament. And coming in, LSU, we knew they were one of the top teams in the entire country. They have done nothing to show otherwise this entire week in Hoover, Alabama. You want complete? This is complete. 3 games, 21 innings. They've 10-run 2 of those 3 opponents that they've played, and they are blasting people this entire week. 8 multi-run innings. They've done it with power. They've done it with speed, and it's a sub-1 ERA on the mound. LSU looking for their 12th SEC tournament title today.
Chris Burke, this has long been a league of superstars, and we're seeing 2 come to the forefront this week. Greg Dykeman busted out yesterday. Chad Spanberger's been there all week for Arkansas.
Yeah, in a tournament defined by the long ball, we got 2 of the most gifted hitters in America on display this afternoon. Chad Spanberger got a chance to break the tournament record. Greg Dykeman hit 2 home runs for LSU yesterday. It is going to be fun to watch these 2 young men swing the bat in this ball game.
The numbers are monstrous for both of these sluggers. Watch out if you're in a bird's nest behind the wall and up in the trees. It's been selfie time all week for 2 guys hitting .500 this week against some of the nation's best pitching. Dykeman homered twice yesterday. Spanberger has 8 hits, 5 of them home runs, and 3 of them doubles. This is an LSU team defined by their seniors in a winning streak now and a winning run that was turned around a few weeks ago. Their senior leader at shortstop, Kramer Robertson, seemingly got them going when he talked to the media. For more on that, here's Laura Rutledge.
Tom, we're calling it the interview, and LSU believes it turned their season around after they lost to Tulane on April 25th. Kramer Robertson took responsibility for their struggles. He said, "Put this on me. This is all about me needing to play better." He said he got the confidence to take responsibility for things from Jared Poche, who texted him the night before and said, "When you start going, we'll be better. When you're in the middle of everything, that's when we're at our best." It turned things around. They won 15 of the next 17 games, and at this point, they feel unstoppable, Tom.
They've looked unstoppable this week, and since that April 25th loss to Tulane, it was, by the way, a midweek sweep for the Green Wave. They've won 14 of 15. They're scoring better than 7 runs a game, and their pitching has been fantastic. Best in the SEC, allowing opponents less than 3 runs per game. Here's how they line it up. They're hitting .378 this week. They've been in double digits every game for the last week. Greg Dykeman in the cleanup spot, tied for second now in the SEC with 19 home runs.
Yeah, he was a little late to join the party, but with 2 homers yesterday, he moved into a tie with Spanberger for second place. Got a chance to catch Brent Rooker for the lead today.
Arkansas's pitching has been great throughout the span of this tournament. They turn to Kevin Kopps today to get the start. Kopps is a freshman right-hander out of Sugar Land, Texas. He is undefeated on the season, but this is only his 4th start. 3-0 with a 3.16 ERA. Here's a scouting report.
The stuff is good, and for the freshman, he's been primarily a bullpen guy the entire year. The cutter plays, and it's going to be important today against this LSU offense. It shows you right, left, and power from both sides. But I think one thing today, you've got to try to slow this LSU team down when they get on a base pass. They like to cause havoc, especially at the top of the lineup if they get on early.
Kramer Robertson will lead off for LSU. Yesterday against South Carolina, he led off with a home run. It was his 8th of the year. championship gold jerseys for the Tigers. Their faithful know how important those can be. They're jerseys that usually coincide with a winning streak. And they've won 10 in a row now. They're averaging better than 8 runs per game in this span, with 13 home runs over the last 10.
Ball.
And Cops with a breaking ball to Kramer Robertson. Kim Mulkey, Kramer's mother, national championship coach with Baylor women's basketball, rocking the beads today. She might be the most nervous person in the park. Couple of national championships. Her son Kramer was on the ladder to cut down the nets both times. He said the only thing better would be a dog pile. One in Omaha. 3-1 now.
This is a big pitch in a ball game. I know it's the first hitter, but as fast as LSU got going yesterday and as loud as this crowd is already, the last thing you want to do is give up a walk to start the ball game.
Strike called on Robertson.
That's the cutter. We've seen a lot of it from Cops already. It'll be 86, 87, right in that range. Doesn't move a ton. The whole point of that is just to keep it off the barrel.
Robertson to the second baseman, Carson Shaddy. One down, and that brings Cole Freeman to the plate. Maybe kind of an exhale of relief for Kevin Kopps just to get to the first.
Pretty nice job right there to execute those 2 pitches. Keep Robertson off the sacks. That's a small win to start this ball game for the Razorbacks.
Senior from Mandeville, Louisiana, at Lake Shore High School. Cole Freeman, one of the seniors that return, spurned the Dodgers in their 18th round pick after last season. .338 average with a couple of home runs. And he's hitting .500 this week. The third baseman, Jared Gates, is playing in front of the bag for Arkansas. Popped him up. Dominic Fletcher is in center field for the Hogs. 2 down. Nice easy start for Kevin Kopps, and now he's got Antoine Duplantis coming to the plate. The top 4 hitters in this LSU lineup have just been on a tear here this week in Hoover. Duplantis no exception. He's in the 3-hole. He's hitting .583 with a couple of doubles.
I think this guy gets overshadowed more than anybody else in this lineup.
Yes.
I mean, he's hitting 3rd. He's driven in 52 this year, and everybody else around him kind of gets a little bit more noise. This dude's a pretty good hitter.
With 1 home run.
Yeah.
I think that's a lot of run-scoring base hits. And you look at Dykeman with 67, but he's got 19 homers to make it happen. Duplantis, 52 homers, 52 runs batted in with just the 1 homer. A lot of clutch hits in this young man.
They score a lot of runs, this LSU offense.
There's the curveball there from Kevin Kopps. So show you cutter and a curveball. The cutter won't have quite as much depth. He'll throw it a little bit harder. The curveball will be 78 to 80 miles an hour. More top to bottom break.
And that'll take care of Duplantis. It takes care of LSU in the first inning. Kevin Kopps, in just his 4th start of the season, holds LSU scoreless in the first inning. When we return, Arkansas slugger Chance Spanberger is due up second for the Hogs. He's been a pain in the neck of every pitcher in the league this week. LSU travels, there's no doubt about that. They travel their offense, they travel their gloves, and they travel their fans. Purple and gold well represented here today. They're looking for their 12th SEC tournament title. Meanwhile, Arkansas showing up as well here in Hoover. Dave Van Horn's team looking for the first ever SEC tournament title in the history of the Arkansas baseball program. He's been there a decade and a half. He's taken Arkansas to Omaha on a regular basis. But this is a Razorback team that didn't even qualify for the postseason last year. They lost their last 13. That was an aberration. This is Arkansas baseball, and that's their slugger.
I can't think of a more gifted slugger that I have covered than Chad Spanberger. I know it's come on late. You don't want to get too carried away with a great week, but it really has been a good last 2 months. And from a pure power standpoint, This is one of the best hitters to hit the draft from college baseball in a long time.
Arkansas has gotten off to some incredibly fast starts with the top third of this order doing big time damage. In the first inning of this tournament, they're hitting .500 with 9 runs, including 3 home runs. Spanberger's done it twice. Eric Walker gets the ball for LSU.
So we got freshman against freshman on the mound today, but the difference is Eric Walker's been a starter most of this entire year for LSU. 6 foot, 172 pounds, and in those 14 starts, he's 6-1 with a 4 ERA. One of his best starts this year was against Arkansas, though, in Fayetteville. He absolutely gets the most out of his stuff. You might not see him hit 90 today, but the control of the fastball is outstanding, and it sets up a changeup that he can throw any place and at any count.
In that start against Arkansas, it was a complete game 4-hit shutout. He only walked 2. He was named the SEC Pitcher of the Week after that performance. Eric Cole looks at a first pitch strike. Sophomore from South Lake, Texas.
Oh, that's inside.
By the way, you can go ahead and turn off the pitch clock on this kid. It doesn't even matter.
Not going to be an issue.
Get it, get on the rubber, and go back to work. I love it.
Do you think his defense likes it too, Berkey?
Oh, there's no question about it. And especially the kind of guys he's got behind him. Look at him. He's just sitting there waiting for the hitter to get ready. And on an up-tempo club with a lot of speed, these kids don't want to wait around.
4 home runs on the season for Cole. His first came on opening day. He was the first Hog to do that since Andrew Benintendi. He goes down swinging. 1 down, and here we go. This should be fun. Eric Walker versus Chad Spanberger.
And he's not just hitting one pitch out, boys. He can cover the entire zone. Watch him stride a little close, and you'll see him hammering balls middle away and away. We've seen him hit changeups, breaking balls. We've seen him go down to a knee to launch balls. This ballpark is playing very small, and this guy has the power to hit it out from foul line to foul line.
Talk with the LSU coaches today. They insist you've got to be able to come inside on him. Do you agree with that?
Well, we saw Florida try to do it yesterday. In theory, I agree with it. You better make your pitch.
Got to get it there.
And with Walker, who does not have a high-end heater, there's a lot less room for error than most.
19 home runs in the season for Spanberger. 2 multi-home run games in this tournament.
Like it. Like it. So here's the difference, and this is why this kid's been so good. His ability to move the fastball up, down, in, out is so good. That time stuck the fastball in there, and it stayed there. A little different reaction to that pitch than we've seen at any time over the last 4 days from Spanberger.
Spanberger homered twice against LSU in their series earlier this year. He drove in 8 in what was an LSU series win. The 0-2, they go up.
Here comes that changeup. It's pretty predictable to do it after the high heater, but I think you go back to that 4-seamer in, or you go right to the changeup and try to put him away right here.
He's hit 19 home runs this year. And a little dribbler off the pitch inside, taken to the bag by Coombs. One thing to have a game plan, another thing to execute it.
That was impressive, KP. The young freshman with an 88, 90 mile an hour heater just stuck 2 4-seamer in on the hands of Chad Spanberger.
You know, the one thing, this kid has been in this environment the entire year. I mean, you pitch in Baton Rouge, and sometimes it's dependent upon whether or not you win a series when he goes out there in game 3. So the environment isn't going to wow him. And he just executed 2 fastballs in the inside part of the plate and did something that no one has done this tournament to Spanberger, and that's time up.
Here's Luke Bonfield. This is a very even Arkansas batting order. 9 home runs this week for the Hogs. They lead the league in home runs overall. There's a lot of guys that can do damage, not just Spanberger. These teams met the first week of April. LSU dropped the first game but came back and won the final 2. 10-8 and 2-0. Arkansas got a little sloppy in that series and gave that middle game away late. No rally possum needed this season for LSU. The 2-1 pitch. Knee-high strike.
He's dialed in early. If we were worried about his emotions, I think he's answered those questions here in the early going. Really, really sharp in this first frame.
The 2-2. Got him swinging. Arkansas has only been retired 3 up, 3 down 2 times this entire week. Walker does it in the first with 2 Ks.
Showing you a little bit of everything in that first inning. Breaking ball to strikeout Eric Cole. That got things going. Ties up Spanberger, and then a changeup to strike out Luke Bonfield. Impressive start for both freshmen.
Greg Deichmann will lead off the second inning for LSU. He's a true cleanup hitter, sitting on 19 home runs in the season.
Plays in one of the biggest parks in this conference. And as you see in this clip, he can hit the ball out left center to the right field line. Decided to come back for his junior year after being drafted after a draft-eligible sophomore season, and has made himself into one of the most premier draft prospects in the country. Plays a great right field and has some of the best raw power in America.
Tied for second in the league in home runs, second in runs driven in, and second in slugging. The glow stick has been powerful. If you want a snapshot of his season, go to one home run that he hit earlier this year against Hofstra. It went 486 feet over the Intimidator in right field, ended up in a parking lot. It was traveling at 108 miles an hour off the bat. 2-0.
And you better be careful right here if you're Kevin Kopps. Deichmann hitting 500 in this tournament, a couple home runs in the ball game yesterday, showing you that he's staying through the middle of the field, has been using the middle of the field almost exclusively so far.
Well, that's down on him.
And when you get a power hitter who's not pulling off the ball and he's using the middle and backside of the field, it is a pretty dangerous thing for opposing pitcher.
Deichmann homered earlier this season against Arkansas. What do you think of that green light?
I love it. And how about the cutter right there, KP?
Yeah.
That's respect.
I think Deichmann started his swing. He thought he was getting a gutter ball fastball right down the middle, and that cutter just brought it in enough.
The 3-1 from Kopps. Breaking ball fouled off. Full count.
What a weapon. Both of those pitches, if you're a hitter, both of those pitches looked they were great pitches to hit out of hand. And late movement on each one of them. You see how much Deichmann mishit both of them, so much so that he's fouled it off his foot. Really sharp cutter in this ball game right now by Kopps.
In 2+ counts. Then he can straighten it out. So that 91, when he straightens it out, a little bit more velocity of that fastball that won't be coming back into Deichmann. But 2 different fastballs. That cutter just kind of offsets in his hand, throws off the side of it, takes a little bit of velocity off, adds a little bit of movement.
Caught just a piece of it.
Careful with that one.
You mentioned Deichmann draft eligible last year as a sophomore, 26th round pick of the Twins. Turned him down to come back. He's been going to LSU games since he was a little kid. From just outside of New Orleans in Metairie at a Brother Martin High School. Here's the payoff. And this one's lined into right field, and a base hit for Deichmann.
Staying red hot. Deichmann now 7 for 13 in this tournament. We'll take a look at the pitch sequence here. Kopps being very careful early with them. Couple fastballs to start. And then eventually Deichmann makes him pay with a hanging cutter on a line drive to right field. Nicely done to get the top of the second started for Greg Deichmann.
Here's Nick Coombs, junior out of Baton Rouge Catholic. He's found a home over at first base. That was Deichmann's old position. He moved out to right. Coombs had also been spending some time behind the plate, primarily a third baseman at LSU Eunice Junior College. JUCO All-American and 2015 Junior College National Champs.
Nice little pipeline for the Tigers with LSU, Eunice. Cade Savick, Rafe Rhymes, now Coombs. They seem to have a meaningful player or two every year on their roster from that junior college.
Pitch out with Dykeman, who has 4 stolen bases. How concerned should Arkansas be about the hit and run?
Well, I think Paul Maneri is the best hit and run guy in America. Now, is this his best combo? I don't know, especially when you consider Coombs and the cutter that he's featured early in the ball game. But one thing Paul Maneri has shown, he has an excellent feel for when to put that play on.
Late recognition there. And the one thing I like about this cutter is he can add depth to it, which he did right there. He can flatten it out sometimes too. And for the most part, I think he's doing it intentionally. He gets a little bit more over the top of the baseball. That'll add a little bit more depth. Gets off the side a little bit more. It'll just be more side to side instead of up down.
There he goes. Popped up on the right side. Cole coming in, still charging, and he gets there. It's a long way to run for Eric Cole in this big ballpark, where it's 335 down the lines and 405 to center. There's real value in having outfielders who can go get it. Both of these teams do.
Both of these teams really, really do, Tom. That's an excellent point. Team speed in the outfield for both these teams, and both of them field at a very high percentage. And one of the reasons I think we all like both of these clubs to have a real chance to make it to Omaha, they really do check all the boxes.
LSU has turned more double plays than errors committed this season. One of just 2 teams in the league that can say that. Runner goes, throw through is in time. Biggers has the tag right between the legs on Greg Dykeman.
Cook can do that now. Throwing out 40% of base runners coming into this ball game. 14 of 35. Grant Cook had thrown out before this one, and when there's no contact made on this, if he can throw it in the air to second base, Dykeman is out.
Yeah. And that's why, Tommy, I talked about, I'm not sure I like the combo here. And obviously Coombs was the previous hitter, but that cutter's such a swing and miss pitch.
Josh Smith sends it to center. Dominic Fletcher misread it off the bat, but is able to get there. Had some issues with that one. No runs after leadoff single, and nobody stranded thanks to the caught stealing. Scoreless, middle 2.
Which one do you think Kyle Peterson could throw a strike with?
Give him any ball.
Okay, give him any one he can throw a strike with, huh?
That's Tony Walsh. He's a veteran. He's an original SEC umpire. He's a regular in Omaha, and he was looking right up at you.
Yeah, I don't think it really matters anymore, Tony. Like, I appreciate it. It was nice of you, but you can rub it up, take it straight out of the box, and we're going to work to get it 60 feet at this point. But that's a good man right there.
It's Walsh's 21st SEC tournament. He's joined by Gregory Street, Scott Klein, and Jeff Head out on the bases. Dominic Fletcher to lead off for Arkansas here in the second. 12 home runs for Fletcher. He is acclimated to this game in this league very, very well.
He really has. And you think about Fletcher and Carlos Cortez in this league, 2 undersized sluggers. And of course, Fletcher having the year that he's having playing center field for the Hogs, everybody making comparison to Andrew Benintendi. And to be fair, it's really not a comparison at this point. Andrew Benintendi.
Because he's doing it his first year.
Yeah, Andrew Benintendi had 1 home run as a freshman. And here Fletcher has 12, so a much better freshman year by Dominic Fletcher than Andrew Benintendi had.
Coombs takes care of it. 1 down. Tonight we'll be at PNC Park in Pittsburgh for our Sunday night baseball game presented by Taco Bell. It's a series finale between the Mets and the Pirates. Our coverage begins at 7 p.m. Eastern on ESPN with Baseball Tonight's Sunday Night Countdown, and it's also streaming live on the ESPN app. Lucas Duda had a 450-foot home run at PNC yesterday. Maybe he can run into another one. Here's Carson Shaddy. And Shaddy jumps on one to the gap in left center field. His bat's been quiet this week, but that's a loud banger that will go for 2 automatically. If he's hitting, that means everybody's hitting in this lineup.
And one of the prettiest swings in this league. His normal approach with the fastball is to right center. So when he gets a changeup or a breaking ball, that's when you'll see him pull the ball. Watch him pause and release right there. Early recognition of that changeup, a hanger, middle up and middle in, and he rips it in the left center field gap. And really the first mistake of the ball game by Eric Walker.
Shaddy had a hit yesterday, but was walked twice and hit by a pitch. And now junior college shortstop Jax Biggers at the plate. Biggers seemingly wasn't intimidated by the previous matchup with LSU. He went 4 for 9 in that series. It was played at Baum Stadium. 354 overall. 3 triples for Biggers this season, or pardon me, this week.
Well, that's out. We talked about it in yesterday's ball game. There's been some pieces on this team that have really developed that has allowed it to make the jump that they made from last year to this year. This is one of the pieces that they've added. And credit Tony Vitello, the third base coach and recruiting coordinator. He knows how to find them. And Jax Biggers, maybe not the most physically attractive prospect you will see, but man, can he really play. Has led this club in hitting for most of the year.
What do you got against how he looks? He's 5'11", $175.
You know
what are your measurables?
That's about right. Maybe a few more pounds on him. Nobody thought I was physically attractive either, so I can say that. See, KP can't say that. He filled out a uniform. You know, he checked all the boxes. Me and guys like Biggers, we got to stick together. Sub-6 footers, grinders.
A couple Napoleons. SEC Player of the Year right next to me. Out of Cisco Junior College, and he ropes one to right field. Dykeman off of the glove. Late jump for Shaddy. He'll make it to third, but that's it. And Greg Dykeman had a hard time hauling that in. Guys, we saw Dominic Fletcher have a hard time seeing the ball off the bat in the last half inning.
And Dykeman's made some really good strides in right field this year. I think he's, for the most part, he's looked very comfortable out there, and he's far from a liability. But this one, he just never really looked terribly comfortable. I mean, he ended up at full speed when he got to it. It'll go as an error on Dykeman in right field, which it absolutely should. And Biggers going straight out of the box, not assuming that ball was going to get caught. Biggers standing on second base. Shaddy went back to tag, so he's just on third. But that's another ball that's hit on the button now, back-to-back for Arkansas.
LSU's defense has been magnificent all season, but 4 errors yesterday, tied for the season high. Talking with Paul Maneri before the game, I think it's accurate to chalk that up maybe to focus and disinterest late in a blowout game.
Sure.
This is a little bit different.
That's only Dykeman's second error of the year.
Here's the catcher, Grant Cook. 2 in scoring position for him.
This is one of the things that I think makes this offense so dangerous is you get to the 7-hole, a lot of places you can exhale a little bit. Here you get to the 7-hole and the guys get 13 home runs.
Dave Van Horn moved him to the 7-hole in the Tennessee series a few weeks ago. He won happy, but Van Horn said, well, he produced, so that's good.
And we talked about both these clubs being Omaha contenders because they check all the boxes, and one of those boxes is lineup depth. And both of these teams can stretch you out and make you pay up and down the order. Grant Cook, as you said, KP, first team All-SEC in the 7-hole and can launch a ball at any time. And if you're getting that one in this situation, you go right back there. A fastball off the plate in. The call goes Eric Walker's way. And with Josh Smith in at the corner and a runner on third, I would go right back there, KP. That's a tough one for a hitter. When the umpire is giving off the plate in, that can be really difficult because now you feel like you got to speed up a little bit to get there.
Past him. Third strikeout for Walker. 2 down.
Really like the way this kid uses his fastball. I mean, there's a lot of people. He'll remind you a little bit, and he's younger, and the stuff isn't quite there. You have Logan Shore a few years ago, the ability to throw the changeup whenever you want, but still, even though the fastball is at 94, 95 miles an hour, he can use it as an out pitch. We saw it in on the hands of Spanberger earlier. Then, after getting a call to get it to a strikeout count, elevates that fastball up and out of the zone to get Cook swinging.
Jared Gates at the plate with 2 down. The Bobcats of Ohio are going to the NCAA tournament. They win the MAC title, their 12th tournament appearance, second in the last 3 years. They're in the 9th inning in Louisville. Florida State leads North Carolina 7-3. Both of those teams already in with that large burst, but Florida State would grab the automatic.
And potentially a host spot.
Yeah.
And 2 weeks ago, we were wondering whether or not Florida State was going to get into the tournament.
Well, they're 11 in the RPI before this game, and they're facing the number 2 RPI team. So
into center field, Zach Watson ranges, takes care of it, and Arkansas strands a pair. Eric Walker comes up big after the error by his right fielder, and the LSU faithful show their appreciation. We are scoreless through 2 in Hoover.
When LSU and Arkansas played each other in Fayetteville in early April, LSU won the series, and in Game 3, Dave Van Horn was ejected in the first inning, so Coach Maneri didn't get to talk to him after the game. But he decided to call him later, and he said he wanted to tell him that he felt like Arkansas was an Omaha College World Series team, and not just an Omaha team. He felt like they could get to the championship series, guys. He said a lot of it was what he saw from this Arkansas offense. Dave Van Horn at the time saying, yeah, I'm not sure if we're quite there yet, but he appreciated the compliment.
That was a tight series as Bo Jordan swings and misses at his first opportunity. 17 runs scored in that series by Arkansas over 3 games. Game 1, Arkansas took it 9-3. Game 2, LSU came from behind with 5 in the 9th after a couple of untimely Arkansas errors. And then it was all Walker in Game 3.
Well, go ahead.
We talk about kind of that Tulane changed LSU season around it, and it did. I get it. But scoring 5 in the 9th, come back and win a Game 2 at Arkansas and win a Game 3 on the road, that was a pretty big series win for LSU when you look back at them.
Well, they had just lost to Florida and A&M.
Yeah.
So they were about to lose their 3rd straight series until that went down.
Bo Jordan at the plate for LSU, 3 for 9 this week, but 4 strikeouts.
And I will say, back to what we've been talking about, and then Laura adding there what Paul Maneri said, the question has always been what's after Knight and Steffen. And when you see what Casey Murphy did yesterday, and Kevin Kopps, the way he's showing himself here early in this ball game, it starts to make you think maybe they do have the depth.
To the right side, Spanberger will handle it. Murphy yesterday, complete game 7 inning shutout, struck out 7 and only allowed 2 hits to Florida in a 16-0 Arkansas win.
And that's been the question is who's the third guy?
Right,
because
right.
It hasn't been like Walker's been the third guy basically the whole year. You know he's going to pitch Game 3. For Arkansas, it's kind of danced around a little bit. They're not quite sure who's going to fill it. And I think at this point, they're probably still not quite sure who would fill that when you get into a regional. But you know who 1 and 2 are, and you can flip them. I don't think it much matters whether it's Steffen and Knight going 1 or 2. But you throw those 2 dudes out there, it gives you a really good chance to be 2-0 in a regional.
And if you're Dave Van Horn, you're leaving here, even if Kopps runs out of gas and maybe the Tigers get to him, you're saying, I got a couple young arms that have showed themselves very well. And when Casey Murphy goes out there and shuts out Florida, who's been red hot, there's reason to believe he can be a guy in the postseason.
Catcher versus catcher in this scenario. Papierski for LSU with 7 home runs on the year, and Cook behind the plate, one of the rare catchers in this league and in college baseball who calls his own game for the most part.
It still gets me. Like you growing up, 1's a fastball, 2's a breaking ball, Wiggles a changeup, and like everything has changed now.
Yeah.
I mean, he goes 4-3 right now. I'm thinking, all right, change up on the outside part of the plate. Bang, here comes a 2-seamer. That one still stands.
So 3 still means cutter slider, which is Pretty typical.
They've had some really good catchers in their time at Arkansas. Brian Walker now an assistant coach at Wichita State. McCann in the big leagues with the Tigers. Two balls and two strikes now to Papierski, batting in the 8th hole with 7 home runs on the year.
It will be interesting. Arkansas is absolutely going to host. It will be interesting who they send there as a 2. You could get Missouri State, who's right up the road. You potentially could get OU coming as a 2. I mean, there could be some thunder coming in as
Get Texas as a 2?
Could. Yeah, you could. I bet they go to Houston.
Papierski straightaway center field. Fletcher on the run. And for the first time this week, the ball's not traveling. 2 down. We'll have a Memorial Day triple header for you on ESPN. It all starts at 1 o'clock Eastern with the Yankees and Orioles. And after that one's over, it's the Nationals and Giants. And finally, the Royals host the Tigers at Kauffman Stadium. All 3 games also streaming live on the ESPN app. Royals on a 2-game win streak. Trying to get things right. Nine hole and Zach Watson.
And to me, one of the most special things about this LSU offense starts right now. When Zach Watson comes to bat for the first time in the ball game, and you've got one of the most electric bodies in college baseball hitting in the 9 hole. This kid can absolutely fly.
Hot shot to third. He is flying down the line, but Gates has him with ease. 1-2-3 frame. Cops has faced the minimum through 3. Offense is held in check early.
All right, SEC fans, it is now time for your guest PA announcer. Harrison's going to do this one thanks to our corporate sponsors of the SEC. Go for it, Harrison.
Now batting for the Arkansas Razorbacks, number 15, Jake Arledge. Go Hogs.
My man's a natural.
I like it.
Very impressive. Little personality.
Drops the Go Hogs on you right at the end.
Arledge, the senior from Huntington Beach, California, hitting in the 9th spot for the Razorbacks. Hitting .338 as a team this week here in Hoover. Cops and Walker have kept both offenses silent. Does that surprise you early on?
It does. It does. And I'm extremely impressed when you talk about 2 freshmen holding up in this environment against 2 of the most explosive offenses, not just in this league, but in the country. I think both head coaches would be awfully pleased. Even Dave Van Horn has to be pleased right now, Kyle.
Absolutely. 4th start of the year, man.
For more on Walker, let's check in with Laura.
I was talking to Jared Poche before this game and Alex Lang as well, and I said, did you guys tell Eric Walker anything, calm his nerves? This is a big spot for him. They're like, no way. This guy was born for this, built for it. We're not worried about him at all.
It's high praise coming from 2 guys who know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Lang second in LSU history in strikeouts. Poche second in LSU history in wins.
When you play high school quarterback in the state of Texas, you know how to stand up under fire.
He had some pretty good teammates on that squad, too, didn't he, at Arlington Martin?
Some guy named Miles Garrett.
Heard of him. All right, so changeup guy. See how wide Walker holds that glove when he starts? So if he has to go to that changeup, that glove doesn't have to flare at all. Remember how Maddox used to do that?
Yeah.
How the glove was way, way wide at the beginning? Almost looks like the same model. He's rocking a Wilson. A wide glove to start. So if you got to dig and change from a changeup grip to a fastball grip, that glove doesn't move. The hitter can't tell what's going on. He's got a lot with this one, though, now.
Yeah.
I mean, his elevated fastball, this is what he struck Cook out on earlier, and this time gets Arledge swinging.
Why is that pitch so hard to hit?
Well, I think the way he changes planes. So you're looking for the ball up because of the changeup, and then you get a heater that's above the belt that's got a little finish on it today, and it's a very good combo.
Here's Eric Cole. 0 for 1 with a strikeout. 7 hits this week for Cole.
All right, so we're starting fastball. So if he's got to go to curveball, it stayed fastball there.
Yep.
But if he's got to go to changeup, because when you go to changeup, the way that Walker throws it, you got to get more hands on top of the baseball. So it takes a little bit more work to get there. Spin it. Now we're going to go 2-seamer.
Nope.
Spin it. Now we're going 4. Like that.
And it's belted deep to right field. Dykeman on the run to the track. It is gone! Solo home run, Eric Cole, and Arkansas strikes first.
The tournament has been about the long ball, and Eric Cole keeps it going. A four-seamer that Walker tries to sneak by him, and I love the way this kid gets ready to swing and the power to get it out to the big part of the park. Such a talented lineup for Arkansas, and here comes Chad Spanberger right after that home run by Cole.
That's back-to-back days with your leadoff man going deep. Cole had 3 home runs start the day yesterday. He's got 5 now.
10th Arkansas home run of the tournament.
Burkett just about went down to a knee on that one. I think he thought Spanberger was hitting that to the airport.
Well, that's a gutsy pitch. First pitch after giving up a long ball.
Arkansas just the 3rd team to hit the double-figure mark in home runs. And we welcome those of you who just watched Florida State claim their 7th ACC tournament title. They get the automatic bid out of the ACC. We are in Hoover, Alabama. SEC Championship Sunday. Tom Hart, Kyle Peterson, Chris Burke, and Laura Rutledge. Red-hot LSU and slugging Arkansas. And one of the best power hitters in college baseball, Chad Spanberger, at the plate. He's homered 5 times this week here in Hoover.
Yeah, he has really been the star in a tournament that's been defined by the long ball. He has stood out. He has a chance to set the tournament record, just 1 short right now for a team that's been hitting them up and down the order.
Arkansas just took the lead on an Eric Cole home run against LSU freshman right-hander Eric Walker. So here's how we got here. Both blowout victories. Run rule games. LSU knocked off South Carolina. Arkansas absolutely ambushed a really good Florida pitching staff, starting with Brady Singer. 2-2 to Spanberger. They climb the ladder on him. 5th strikeout for Walker. Just before you joined us on ESPN2, Eric Cole took a 2-seamer from Walker and he banged it off the second wall.
Yeah, the fastball is a little short. He likes to pitch with it though, but the margin for error is not much. Cole gets one he can handle, and there we are, 1-0 Razorbacks after a big swing by Eric Cole.
So I think we saw into the freshman's mind a little bit right before he threw that pitch. Okay, not that one, but the one that Cole threw. He had a 2-seam fastball gripped. And usually in your mind, when you're on the mound, you're gripping what you're going to throw. So you're not going to spin it unless there's some reason. Had a 2, spun to the 4-seamer late, and that was the pitch that ended up getting hit out. It's almost like he wanted to throw the 2-seamer, got talked into the 4.
0-1 pitch to Bonfield.
That's a pretty good pitch.
Arkansas is the best slugging team in the SEC. No one has hit more home runs than the Razorbacks this year. A very balanced attack. They also have a no-hitter in this tournament. First we've ever seen in the SEC tournament. Hogs looking for their first ever SEC tournament title.
Oh, he switched it, KP. Now he went back to it.
Changeup.
He's altering it quite a bit.
Yeah.
Is that normal to go through so many grips?
It wasn't for me. I mean, when I stood up there, most of the time it really didn't matter what the guy put down. I already knew what I was going to throw in my mind. So you shake to get to that point. And it looks like now we're going back to changeup, back to back.
Full count now to Bonfield. He's homered 9 times this year.
Second time through, 3rd time through. That will be the defining moment of this game for Eric Walker. This, again, the changeup is kind of the real pitch for him. And after Arkansas has seen it 1 time through, and there's a lot of veteran polished hitters on this club, can he get the same swings and misses? We've seen Bonfield lay off 2 in a row. It's a good sign if you're an Arkansas fan.
Tony Walsh punches him out. It's a 6K for Walker. It's a big one. Arkansas takes the lead on a solo home run from Eric Cole, and then Walker, the freshman, bounces back. 2 big Ks to close the third. Arkansas leads LSU 1-0, top of the fourth SEC Tournament Championship. Welcome back to Hoover, Alabama. Tom Hart, Chris Burke, Kyle Peterson. LSU is a national championship contender. They shared the regular season crown with Florida, and they are red hot.
Yeah, I mean, they've done everything right this entire week. They have been more impressive than anybody else here the entire week, partly because of the consistency and how good they've been on the mound. The difference today is one pitch. Now, home runs have been the story, so it's no surprise that home runs are continuing to be the story here, but it's been just one pitch in the leadoff man's home run.
Meanwhile, Arkansas is just playing incredible offensive baseball right now.
Yeah, it's rare that you get a team that leads the league in home runs come in and perform the way they've performed throughout this conference tournament. And it helps when you've got one of the most physically gifted guys in the country playing at a very high level. Chad Spanberger has been the talk of this tournament. 5 home runs. A little slow start in this ball game, but he has put on a show all week here at the Hoover Met.
Spanberger is 0 for 2 today with a ground out and a strikeout. This is senior Kramer Robertson at the plate for LSU. He's 0 for 1 with a ground out to second. Top part of the lineup has struggled against Arkansas this year. Robertson and Duplantis in the first and third hold today. A combined 1 for 23 against Razorback pitching this year.
Interesting. It's a pretty good formula to beat these guys. Keep those two off the bags here. Avoiding some serious trouble.
LSU looking for its 12th SEC tournament title. They hold the record with 11. And over this 10-game win streak, scoring more than 8 runs a game. Arkansas is looking for its first ever SEC tournament title.
Hard to believe.
But to go back to 1985 when they won the Southwest Conference tournament. Last time they won one, Jeff King was on that squad. And the NCAA tournament at that time was only 38 teams.
And I'm familiar with the name Jeff King because 2 years ago when Dansby Swanson went #1, we had to look up when the last time a college shortstop went #1, and it was
Jeff King was the last one?
Jeff King.
Spanberger will give it a look, but it's going to end up in row number 8. The numbers are remarkable for LSU in this tournament. They played 3 games. They've won 2 of them by run rule. They've outscored their opponents 31-3. And it's been the top third of the order which has gotten it done. Pitching hasn't been too shabby either.
No, that's pretty decent right there. I mean, you just run up and down, and they've done everything right all week. Done everything right for the last month.
Once you see the 31-3 number, pretty good bet that the rest of them are going to look pretty good as well.
Kramer Robertson dumps one into right field. Second hit of the day for LSU against Kevin Kopps. And the LSU faithful starting to maybe feel something going at the top of this order.
Extend the hitting zone, KP. You got to be able to extend the hitting zone. A slider off the plate. And look at my man, Kramer Robertson. Watch the back knee and watch the release of the top hand. And that's how you keep the bat moving forward. And that's how you hit tough pitches. A big start to the fourth for the Tigers.
0-2 to 3-2 in the count. Foul a few off and take one that it doesn't look like he really can do much with. And now LSU has a leadoff man on. Where in this time of this order, you get Kramer Robertson on. There's a lot of things that Paul Mainieri could do now.
Cole Freeman at the plate. Paul Mainieri has been very aggressive this season with the hit and run. He's got guys who can scoot. Robertson, one of the smartest base runners in the league. Freeman, one of the fastest. A pair of seniors that turned down the draft to return for a chance to win a national championship. One ball, one strike. Kramer Robertson is really the heart and soul of this team. 1-1 pitch. In for a strike. This LSU team did not look like a national championship contender early on. Through April 25th, they were 27-15. They were only 10-8 in the league. They were coming off of another midweek loss to Tulane. That's when Kramer Robertson took charge. He stood up before the media as LSU boarded the bus to go to Alabama for a Thursday game and a weekend series, and he said, I haven't performed in conference the way that I should. Has a lot to do with us struggling. Your senior leader rubs off on the whole team. Put this on me. I need to play better and get my act together. Since then, they have won 15 of 17 games.
I love it. I absolutely love it.
Little roller to third. Gates bobbles, and LSU in business. This is kind of the karma you see from this LSU program in the postseason when things start to get going.
Well, we just talked about the quote, and that's what you get. Kramer Robertson with a great at-bat, extends the hitting zone, drops the ball in right center field, and now Gates hurries because he knows the speed, and a poor transition as Freeman reaches out and chops that ball to third. A huge mistake from a normally reliable Arkansas defense. And here come the Tigers first and second with nobody out.
Start peeking at second base. I mean, because there's no chance with Freeman running. You are not going to turn two on that one, but peeked at second base a little bit early, and you cannot give this offense more chances.
Pitching coach Wes Johnson to the mound. Only the second error of the season charged to Jared Gates.
A little peek.
Just a sloppy transfer right there. You see the right hand just never gets over top of the baseball.
Two very good defensive teams. They've each committed an error here early in this one. LSU going into that Alabama series struggling before Kramer Robertson took on the responsibility. They've held opponents to less than 3 runs a game. Laura, it's been a turning point for this Tiger team.
Yeah, Kramer Robertson said, look, I knew I was going to be putting more pressure on myself by saying what I said, but I'm glad I did that because he said he actually performs better under pressure, and knowing that his team would be able to relax a little bit really motivated him in wanting to say that. Although he said when he did say all those things, he really wasn't expecting it. It just kind of came out.
It's the son of a coach, and a fiery coach at that. Corners are in. Gates and Spanberger. Here's Antoine Duplantis at the plate. He wasn't expecting to say it. His mom, Kim Mulkey, who has 2 national championships, wasn't expecting it, but she read it later that day or the next morning. Texted him simply, I'm proud of you. That's what a leader does.
And we talked about Eric Walker being a high school quarterback, Kramer Robertson, a Texas high school quarterback as well. And that's called taking bullets for your club and standing up and saying, I'm the guy, I'm the shortstop, I'm the leadoff hitter. Put it on me. I need to do better.
Opportunity for the Tigers. 2 on, nobody out.
If you could draw out the ideal leader, senior, shortstop, leadoff hitter.
Yeah.
There you go. That's your guy. He's going to be out there first. And he, yesterday, and this is why I love him in the leadoff spot, is he can go deep to start a ball game. Did it yesterday, and there's something different, man. When he goes deep right away or he's on base causing havoc right away, this offense just runs right behind him.
And I just think as a teammate, when you hear your guy stand up and take the bullet and not say we need to get more hits with runners in scoring position or I think our defense needs to pick it up. No, I'm not playing well enough. It's me.
There are times during the season to say we. There are times during the season to say I. And when you're owning something and say I, that's powerful in a locker room.
Urban Meyer put up a plaque of Tim Tebow's speech in 2008 after a loss to Ole Miss, won a national title. Talked to Kramer about it today. He said, yeah, I've seen it, but I'm not Tim Tebow. Difference is they were both aiming for a national title. This one gets through the right side. Here comes Robertson. Cole's got a strong arm, and they throw the brakes on.
Wow.
Bases loaded for LSU for Greg Dykman. Pressure on Kevin Kopps. Greg Dykman, one of the best sluggers in the SEC, 19 home runs, and they're not going to let Kopps face him. Dave Van Horn going to the bullpen with nobody out in the 4th inning. Matt Cronin is the new pitcher for Arkansas. Kopps gets the start. Bases are loaded thanks to 2 singles and an error, and LSU primed.
The SEC Baseball Championship is brought to you by Degree Deodorant. It won't let you down.
LSU trailing Arkansas. The LSU fans here full throat. Great signs in a rally possum may be needed today. They trail 1-0. Arkansas has turned it over to Matt Cronin.
He was pretty good the other day now. Ended up getting the win in a no-hitter for Arkansas on Thursday. It was a combined no-hitter between 3 different guys. But Matt Cronin was not really a name that we knew until he came trotting out of the bullpen. It's a name we know now. Came in and punched out 3 to get out of the inning. Dominic Taccolini had walked the first 2 of that inning. 3 innings, 6 strikeouts, 3 walks over the course of the year for the freshman left-hander. 16 1/3 innings, 27 strikeouts.
Cronin versus Dykman. Bases loaded. Greg Dykman tied for 2nd in the league with 19 home runs. He hit 2 home runs yesterday.
Love that sound. I love that sound, man. You hear that groan of the crowd after that swing? That sounds pretty good when you're standing 60 feet away.
Cronin has struck out 18 over his last 11 and the 3rd. The freshman led the state of Florida in strikeouts his senior year.
Ball.
Goodness. He throws a dark ball at you. I mean, it's guys, when we saw this the other day when he came out of the bullpen, they did not square the fastball up.
That's 2 heaters right by Dykman in fastball counts. You know you got a special finish to that pitch when you're throwing it by this young man.
A grand slam already this season for Dykman. Junior from Metairie, Louisiana. 2-2 from Cronin. Fouled it off. Greg Dykman wears that face mask that covers the right side of his face. In one of the final scrimmages for LSU, he took a fastball to the cheekbone. Had surgery to repair a zygomatic arch. He was back at it, didn't miss any time. He homered 6 days after surgery. Baseball America says he has the best raw power in the league. He was frustrated when he didn't get a chance to show the power in the final regular season series against Mississippi State. His former assistant coach, Andy Cannizzaro, walked him 10 times over those 3 games. Now the base is loaded and nowhere to put him in the 4th inning. 3-2 pitch coming from Cronin to Dykman. Time to think about it.
I got to believe we're seeing gas right here, KP. Bases loaded.
Yeah.
You've gotten a couple uncomfortable swings. If you're Greg Deichmann, the question is, can you get the barrel out in front?
Strike 3 called, and Deichmann caught looking with the bases loaded. And he is not happy with the home plate umpire, Tony Walsh.
So the freshman comes out of the bullpen on Thursday, ends up throwing 3 scoreless, hitless. Now comes in with the bases loaded, different deal. First pitch, breaking ball, fastball right by Deichmann, 1-1, then tries to crowd him. Now another fastball, so 2-2 at this point. Fastball fouled off, borderline right here. And then punches him out looking with a fastball on the outside part of the plate. Tony Walsh has done this. It would surprise me if they take him out of the game right now.
Dave Van Horn is out there. There is action in the Arkansas bullpen, and the door is open.
This one shocks me. I mean, they're fresh in the bullpen, so it's not like they don't have options. But the way this kid's been going, I thought they might roll with him for a while. Got him the out they needed, though.
So Cannon Chadwick will enter the game for Arkansas. The bullpen is certainly fresh for Arkansas. 3 pitchers, a combined no-hitter on Thursday. But otherwise, Casey Murphy with the complete game. Last time out, they should have plenty of arms. Cronin retires, the only man he faces. Nick Coombs will bat with the bases loaded. NCAA tournament projections. According to D1Baseball.com, we'll know the entire field tomorrow. We'll know the host to 7 o'clock tonight. How much movement in the bottom there? TCU now a 7 seed, Stanford an 8. Those are the national seeds that would keep you home all the way through to Omaha should you win.
I mean, to me, the only movement is on this is what number goes next to the national seeds. I think these are your 8 right now. LSU probably bumps up a little bit. At the end of the day, it really doesn't make any difference if you're 1 or the 8. You're a national seed. You're guaranteed the chance to play at home 2 weeks if you keep winning. Kentucky absolutely in that discussion. Southern Miss in that discussion, but at this point, I think Stanford's got it. 40-14, 21-9 in the pack. They swept Washington State on the road, swept Washington last week, and won 10 of their last 11, but 21 of their last 23 games for Stanford. Mark was his 41st and final year.
Contention for that 8th seed. You could also include Kentucky. Wildcats have put up monster numbers this season. Finished 3rd in the SEC. Greg Deichmann strikes out with the bases loaded against the lefty Matt Cronin.
Well, Tony Walsh has made it very clear it's going to be a pitcher's zone today. He took one on 2-2 that I thought Tony would ring him up on. He's definitely not going to let him get away with that one, which caught more of the plate. And even though Deichmann thought it was down, he's got to know the zone. And you can see the frustration. Obviously, he did not agree with the call, but I think consistent with the zone we've seen to this point in the ball game.
As a hitter, how do you help your teammates when you go back to the dugout after a call like that?
I think the conversation should have been had throughout the first part of this ball game, which is, hey guys, with 2 strikes, we have to be swinging the bat. And even though that pitch is a little bit down, when you're sitting for a fastball in that kind of situation, I'm surprised to see him not pull the trigger right there.
So after lefty-lefty, they go righty-righty here with Cannon Chadwick making his 23rd appearance. Nearly a 4-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio for Chadwick.
He's been very good out of the bullpen and one of the most reliable guys towards the back end of the game. I like the leverage play here, okay? So if we're not going to leave the freshman left-hander in right there, let's go to one of our best options. Don't wait till the 7th, don't wait till the 8th. You got bases loaded, 1 out. This could be the ball game.
Nick Coombs at the plate for LSU. He is 0 for 1 today. Bases loaded for LSU. Kramer Robertson, the senior, started this inning off with a single. Cole Freeman reached in an error by Jared Gates, the third baseman, and then Antoine Duplantis singled to right. After the Deichmann strikeout, bases loaded and 1 down for the Tigers and Nick Coombs. Into the stands, 1-2.
These are high-stress situations right here for these LSU hitters. You know you're getting swing-and-miss stuff. You know this is part of the ballgame that could define whether you walk home with the championship in a program that one of the major selling points is that we come to Hoover to win this thing. These are big at-bats for all these guys right now with the bases loaded.
LSU has won 11 SEC tournament titles. Nobody else even close. They're in their 18th championship game, and their head coach, Paul Maneri, is undefeated in the title game. He said there's something special about going to bed knowing you're playing for a championship the next day.
Oh, bounce for his bat.
Little cricket.
I think it bounced afterwards, the way I saw it. Let's see what we got. Let's see who's right here. Tom, me, or KP?
Both.
Yeah, it's a push.
Both right.
That's so
Not taking
lame.
sides.
You guys are so
Both.
lame.
You couldn't tell from
Just
that
say
shot.
it was me, Tom. I mean, it's okay. He'll still take you out to dinner every once in a while.
I won't pay for it, so it doesn't matter.
Invited you. That was nice, wasn't it?
Sure. You ate all the ice cream. 2-2.
Put it in front of me. What do you want me to do? Send it back?
2-2 now to Coombs with the bases loaded. I love your point about a high leverage situation and going to your best pitcher.
You want the guys that are used to coming into a spot like this late in the ball game, and regardless of inning, this is, it will prove to be one of the most important times of this entire ball game.
Cannon Chadwick delivers, and he misses low. He skipped a couple there. Nice pickup by Cook behind the plate.
Well, and Chadwick is a guy for me that throws his fastball for a ball almost intentionally. He wants to get to the slider, so the 2-2 fastball, really no intention of throwing that over the plate. Just trying to speed Coombs up so he can put him away with the slider here on a full count. I'd be shocked if that's not the pitch they go to right here.
Let's see if Coombs has a read on it. They do, and it's ball 4. And LSU ties the game on a bases loaded walk to Nick Coombs.
And that's a great take. That is an outstanding take on a really good breaking ball from Cannon Chadwick. Watch how late he puts the brakes on here. Keeps the hands in front of the barrel and does a very nice job. Watch the hands stay in front of the barrel. And that is absolutely the right call and a great at bat right there from Nick Coombs.
Jeff Head down at first base was all over it.
This is the freshman third baseman Josh Smith. And Dave Van Horn's out of the dugout again. Couple more tickets punched. Houston won the American. They're third in the last 4 years. Central Connecticut wins the Northeast Conference. Their 5th NCAA tournament. He is sharing his opinion with Jeff Head, who ruled that Nick Coombs did not commit to that pitch on the check swing. And Van Horn looking past Head and towards his bullpen. He's already made a call back there, and he is fired up. Dave Van Horn thinking that he is forced to go to the bullpen based on this call, and this call alone, a bases loaded walk on a check swing. How do you see it, Chris Burke?
I think he absolutely got it right.
I agree.
And I love the fire in Dave Van Horn's belly. But, Skip, you got this one wrong. I don't mind you fighting for your guys, but I think Jeff Head got it right, and the hitter was rewarded for laying off a tough pitch.
It's not a swing. It's not a swing. Jeff Head will be in Omaha this year at the College World Series, and rightfully so. He's one of the best in this league. He got it right, and I'm with you. I mean, I love when Dave Van Horn gets fired up. Because he'll do that and he will stick up for his guys, and I don't blame him. I would do it right there too, but I think Jeff Head got the call right.
So Alberius will be the 3rd different pitcher in the last 3 batters faced. Josh Alberius was part of the no-hitter a couple nights ago for Arkansas. It was the first ever no-hitter in SEC tournament history. Senior out of Little Rock. This will be his 3rd appearance in the tournament. 21st overall, a 4.87 ERA, 41 Ks in 48 innings.
Stuff's a little bit different than Cannon Chadwick. See the strikeouts, 41 and 48 innings. Chadwick kind of has that swing and miss slider. Alberius' stuff is a little bit flatter. He doesn't have the swing and miss stuff that either of the last 2 had. One thing that surprises me a little bit, I understand it's a very high leverage situation, so I understood when they brought Cronin in and when they brought Chadwick in. Just surprises me that they took them both out.
Yeah.
because now you burn them for the balance of the game. I love the matchup when they came in. I just thought either or both would stay a little bit longer.
Well, speaking of this Arkansas bullpen, let's check in with Laura Rutledge.
Yeah, before this game, Tom, Dave Van Horn said to me, yeah, this one's going to be bullpen city, and we will not be afraid to play matchups throughout the game. He said it's all going to be situational, and he was glad he had a lot of guys fresh. Another one available, too, Dominic Taccolini, who was also part of the combined no-hitter.
Taccolini started that no-hitter. He walked 4. It wasn't crisp. Cronin was. Alberius was as well. Alberius didn't allow a base runner in the final 3 of the no-hitter against Auburn. Bases remain loaded. It's Freeman at third. Duplantis at second after his single, and Nick Coombs drew a bases loaded walk to tie the game. Josh Smith is a freshman. Chance for a big hit here. They come inside on him. Detroit used their 38th round pick on Smith, coming out of high school last year, out of Catholic High School in Baton Rouge. Turned him down to play for the hometown team. Smith flew out to center to close the second.
I would love to know the mindset of righty for righty here against the left-hander Josh Smith. I would love to know the exact reasoning there for Dave Van Horn, why they're going with Alberius versus the left-hander. But you know, if you're Smith, usually in these high leverage situations, the way they start you is the way they want to finish you. And you see the cutter in early and then a fastball away there to get back to even. My guess is the book on Smith is they want to try to run that breaking ball in off his hands and tie him up.
UMBC wins the American East title. They're going to their 3rd ever NCAA tournament, the first since 2001.
Xavier wins the Big East. Beats St. John's 7-6. Xavier gets the automatic. St. John's will have to wait, see if they get their name called.
Automatic berth to the winner of this one. But both in great position as at-larges. The 1-2. Pull to the right side and throw. Freeman has scored. Duplantis flying home. Cole's throw is there, but they held him. Nolan Cain has been very, very patient with the base runners over at third base. Talking to before the game today, he has incredible respect for Eric Cole's arm in right field.
Well, he's showing it because that's twice that he has held up 2 of the fastest base runners on this team, as we see Smith gets a fastball middle away and rips it into right field. And look how far down the line Nolan Cain is, and I love the mechanics of that for a third base coach. Give your base runner plenty of time to see, and Josh Smith is fired up, the freshman from Baton Rouge, with a big hit in this ball game.
I was joking with Nolan earlier today. I said, you might have to put your shoulder on ice as many guys as you've been waving home from third. He said, I'm just going to switch it up and use my left arm from now on. Stop signs galore, though, in this 4th inning. They've scored 33 runs this week. And LSU with their first lead of the game with Bo Jordan at the plate. This is an LSU roster loaded with Louisiana guys. Bo Jordan and his twin brother Bryce are from Lake Charles out of Barb High School. Berkey, you made the comment earlier that these brothers wouldn't leave LSU till they won a national championship.
And I will believe that till they prove me wrong. I just think these are glue guys. These are 2 types of guys that you saw when LSU's winning championships. Louisiana born and bred. They've won championships literally at every level they've played at. And of course, you know, Bo's feeling a little incomplete without his brother Bryce in the lineup with him. But what a blessing it is for Paul Mainieri to get these 2 brothers on his club for 4 years.
Bryce out with a torn ACL. It occurred in the final preseason practice for LSU. They've been to the Little League World Series. They've won a state championship in high school, an SEC title here. And Bowles sends one to right field. Eric Cole towards the line, looking to tag Duplantis. Foul territory, catch made. Here's the throw home. Duplantis is safe, and LSU adds to its lead.
Well done all the way around. Well, Jordan, knowing if you get one deep enough, even with the arm of Eric Cole in right field, he had to go a ways to get this one, and it would have taken an absolutely perfect throw. If it's dead on, he's got a chance to get Duplantis, but offline enough, Duplantis scores, and the Tigers have put 3 on the board here in the 4th inning.
Every runner advances. This is Michael Papierski, the 8th batter of the inning. In Bloomington, Indiana, Iowa won the Big Ten title. Their 5th NCAA tournament appearance, 2nd in the last 3 years for the Hawkeyes.
How many does the Big Ten get? That'll be interesting.
Foul.
3, maybe 4
Yeah.
for the Big Ten.
Does that knock
3, maybe
Indiana?
4. No. No.
So you got Nebraska, Michigan, Indiana, and Iowa?
Actually, could be 4, maybe 5.
Yeah.
Maryland in the mix?
Maryland's in the mix. Yeah, but
I think that might knock Maryland out today. Iowa winning.
Jake Adams, remember that name. 26 home runs this year for Iowa, and the Hawkeyes are in, and they potentially now could be a 3 seed in Fayetteville. That's a short bus ride south.
Does Arkansas have any chance to get a national seed with a win here today?
I don't think they do. No, I don't. They got back into the discussion, but I just think it's a little bit short from a national seed standpoint.
Dominic Taccolini will head to the Arkansas bullpen. First 3 batters this inning for LSU reached on a single, an error, and a single. They've all come home to score. The Tigers have a 3-1 lead. Two senior leaders, Cole Freeman and Kramer Robertson. Coombs and Smith aboard for Papierski. That is a foul ball.
Well, Spanberger's not arguing, but
hit the chalk, but it hit the chalk 15 feet in front of first base.
Looked like that ball got over top of the bag. Spanberger not arguing at all, so he feels pretty comfortable with Jeff Head's call. Actually, base where he was, and with Nick Coombs running, that might have saved him a run.
2 down in the inning. Popped him up. Biggers on the left side. An error opened the door for this LSU rally. 3 runs on 3 hits. Paul Maneri will talk to Laura Rutledge about his offense and this team playing with a lot of mojo. LSU with the lead. Cole Freeman sliding across on an RBI single from Josh Smith, and the Tigers looking for their 12th tourney title.
Back with LSU head coach Paul Maneri. And coach, your freshman from Baton Rouge, Josh Smith, coming up in a big spot. How would you describe that last half inning offensively?
Well, we did some really good things. Obviously, Duplantis got a big base hit there. We had to freeze on the line drive, so he wasn't able to score. And then I thought Josh Smith and Nick Coombs both did a great job with 2 strikes on him, put the ball in play. Would have been nice to finish off the inning there with another base hit, but we got a lot of baseball to play, and it was a good way to bounce back. Their kid was really frustrating us the first few innings with as many breaking balls as he was throwing.
Eric Walker gave up the home run, then bounced back with back-to-back strikeouts in a huge part of the order. What does that say about him?
Yeah, Eric's special. He's post-8 throwing right-handed. He just missed it with the location, that one pitch, and the kid, did miss it and hit the home run. But he's made a lot of great pitches today, so let's hope he can keep it up.
Thank you.
High praise to compare him to Jared Poche, second all-time in wins in LSU history. Vintage LSU pitcher, that's a word that works with him. Another thing that LSU did in that fourth inning is they moved through 4 different Arkansas pitchers: Copps, Cronin, Chadwick, and Alberius. Eric Walker back to work. This is Dominic Fletcher, the freshman. Fletcher 5 for 17 this week for Arkansas. 2 home runs and 6 driven in, trying to bunt his way on. The pitcher Walker never picked it up, and Dominic Fletcher, who's got 12 home runs on the season, just bunted his way aboard to start the 4th.
Love it. Love it. Show some versatility, young man. Leading off an inning. We know he can leave the ballpark, but he's trying to get a rally started for his club. Shows it late. Smith didn't see it coming. Softly lays it down the third base line, and Walker had no chance even if he picked it up. This is a perfectly placed bunt.
I like that. I like that. I like that.
Carson Shaddy came up with a big double last time he was up. His 3rd hit of the tournament. He's 3 for 13 here in Hoover.
Oh, that's inside.
Knee high, but inside, according to Tony Walsh. 289 average now for Shaddy, but 22 points higher with runners on base. Comes from an Arkansas family. Shaddy's dad played baseball at Arkansas back in the early 80s. Dad Chris, and then moved on as high as AAA in the professional ranks.
So Shaddy hits a first pitch changeup in the gap for a ground rule double last time. How much, when a guy jumps on your best pitch in his first at bat, does that change what you do moving forward?
It shouldn't based on the pitch. It more should be on the combination of pitch location. So if you threw him a first pitch changeup, but it was left belt high over the middle of the plate, that should not determine whether or not you're going to throw a similar pitch later on in the ballgame. I think it's more the combination of selection and location. Then you decide where you're going to go later.
Smith to second for 1. Freeman gets turned over. And that'll bring his teammates in, and that'll be some words for the base runner Fletcher on his way back out. Josh Smith chased him halfway across the diamond, and the Arkansas dugout's going to spill onto the field. In college, the rule is simple. You must go straight into the bag. At first blush, it looked like Dominic Fletcher did just that.
That's what I had.
Yeah, I did too. I don't have anything wrong with it. It's hard, it's aggressive, but it looked like it was straight in.
Well, I thought he was off the bag when he caught it. I'm not so sure he was on the base. Look, he's sliding right into the base.
There's nothing wrong with that slide. Nothing. It's hard and it's aggressive, and it looks worse because of what happened with Freeman, but I got no problem with that.
Look, as a second baseman, you have got to get out of the baseline. He is right in the middle of the baseline. You are asking to get hurt when you were right in the middle of the baseline. Now, did Fletcher throw an arm up there at the end because he's trying to protect himself? But look, you got a guy right in the middle of you trying to slide.
I got no problem. Yeah, maybe at the end.
Absolutely clean. That's what I'm saying.
But
I had nothing wrong with that slide.
I don't either. I don't either. It's going to look worse, and people are going to go nuts because of ultimately what it looked like when Freeman went down. He is right in the middle of the baseline. I mean, you can't.
Cole Freeman's a senior second baseman. He's got a guy that can fly on first base. He knows he has to get out of the baseline. He is sitting in the baseline, and really, if he gets out of the baseline, they might be able to turn a double play right there.
So what do you do on that? You keep your left foot on the bag, and then you go back towards the right fielder after you make the play?
Left foot to the bag, right foot to the ball. That is the technique of turning a double play. He's sitting with 2 feet on the base and gains no ground towards the baseball. You got to go either towards the third baseman or away from the third baseman But to sit on the bag and not even try to use the bag to help defend yourself, you're asking to get hit.
Well, ultimately, he came into the slide.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one thing. He actually moved closer to the base runner as he went.
Tony Walsh, Jeff Head, and the rest of the crew got together to chat, and they'll share their findings with Paul Mainieri. Paul Gillier is the SEC umpire coordinator. He's in the building today. He saw the play. He said that's perfectly fair.
I mean, his feet are on the ground. His feet are on the ground when he slides. Now
he didn't go spikes high.
That's right.
He didn't go out of the baseline. He went in hard, but I mean, at that point, what else you want him to do?
I think the LSU kids probably had a little something to take with Fletcher, maybe not seeing if he's okay. Look, you're shuffling right into the baseline. That is poor technique by Cole Freeman, and it really leaves Dominic Fletcher absolutely no options.
Well, I would tell you this: with all that, it is poor technique. I'm glad he's popped up back on his feet, because when you slow it down at that point, I mean that could have been bad and a season changer for LSU. But I put none of that on Fletcher.
Jeff Head is now explaining this to Paul Mainieri. Two highly charged teams that are anxious for an SEC tournament championship. And the emotions are charged here on this afternoon, the 17th game of the week. Dominic Fletcher is a freshman. Cole Freeman is a senior. And as you said, KP, good to see Freeman up and about. How besides what we saw and what you've talked about already, if you're a middle infielder and you're getting barreled into, how can you best protect yourself? You've already made the mistake of being in the base path.
That's right.
So how can you protect yourself?
The only way to do it, you got to get your toe pointed at the runner. If you're sideways, that's when you blow a knee out. But if you get it to where your knee bends naturally, and even if he hits you, the leg should give. And it looked like that happened right there with Freeman. But I've seen many guys get banged up when a runner, catches them with their toe pointed towards the infield as opposed to towards the first base bag.
Jax Biggers is the Arkansas shortstop. Pickoff attempt on Shaddy, who has 6 stolen bases in 10 attempts.
I think you give the boys in blue some credit on this one, because the easy call, based on how violent it looked, is to call an immediate double play. And that would not have been the right call. They absolutely got it right. Scott Klein's at second, Jeff Head's at first.
So we agree on the legality of the slide. Then another question from the LSU perspective is, did their guy flip our guy intentionally? Was that on purpose?
But I think it had already happened. I mean, he might have tried to keep him off him a little bit, but man, everybody's going to get fired up right there, which is understandable.
Yeah. Guys, I think the bigger story, I'm not sure Cole Freeman was on the base when he caught the ball. I thought Cole Freeman left the base a touch early, and obviously we got to pay attention to the contact and whether the slide was legal and all those kinds of things. But I think if LSU is honest with themselves, it was a close call whether Cole Freeman was actually engaged with the bag at the point in which he caught the ball.
The 1-2 to Biggers. Popped it up. Shallow center. Here comes Zach Watson. He gets there with a sliding catch. 2 down. A lot going on in this half inning. Let's listen in on Tony Walsh, Jeff Head talking with Paul Mainieri moments ago.
Both ways.
No, we're not going to assume that when a guy gets hit that it's intentional, okay?
Yeah.
We're not going to assume that. Do not worry about that.
Our own players have said that the slide was fine, okay?
Yeah. Let's go. It's totally a safety thing, Paul.
All right, so he cleaned it up. And just like you guys saw in the booth.
Very good.
How about that catch by Zach Watson? Oof. Wow.
He is some kind of athlete out in center field, man. And I think over the course of the year, because Duplantis was playing a lot of center field, and it took a little bit of time to get the freshman out there regularly. But when you watch, Duplantis is a very good defensive outfielder. Zach Watson is elite in center field at the college level.
Here's Grant Cook. Eric Walker spending a lot of time concerned with Carson Shaddy at first base. Nick Coombs holds him on. Walker has 1 pickoff this season. Let's take another look. Tell me if Cole Freeman was on the base on this play at second.
Yeah, so lost in the contact. Is he actually on the base? I don't have him on the base, guys. I think he's safe at second. Your thoughts?
There's not a reviewable play.
No, I think you're right.
Into the gap towards right center. Watson will chase this one down. That kid can flat fly. He takes 2 hits away from the Hogs here in the 4th inning. An emotionally charged Championship Sunday in the SEC. We'll get Dave Van Horn's thoughts after this.
Back with Arkansas head coach Dave Van Horn. And coach, what did you think of Dominic Fletcher's slide into second?
I think he slid straight into the base. The third baseman threw the ball into the line. As a matter of fact, I don't think the second baseman was on the bag either. And, you know, we've had a couple things not go our way. We just got to fight through it.
You said this game would be bullpen city for you, going back to the pen a lot. How do you plan to manage matchups throughout the rest of it?
Well, you know, we'll see what Josh can do for a hitter or 2, or if he goes, we'll just let him roll and then probably come and tackle any after that. We've just got to try to keep the game close until we can put together a rally.
Thank you.
Okay.
The offense is capable. They lead the SEC in home runs. Josh Alberius back on the mound for the 5th inning. Dave Van Horn talked about the play at second base. Of note, this is a veteran crew, 65 tournament appearances combined. Multiple guys who have worked Omaha in the College World Series. And in their defense, every play that has been argued about, and a couple of them big, they've been right.
Yes. And the play argued at second base was not out or safe. That's the one I think they missed. But they definitely got it right on whether the slide was clean or not.
And the check swing was correct.
Absolutely.
A little bit of energy in the ballpark today, boys.
Like this. I mean, we get 2 10-run games yesterday, and we got ourselves a championship environment now.
What do you got on Zach Watson defensively, Chris Burke?
I don't know that we saw Andrew Benintendi a couple years ago. I put him in that caliber as far as range. And the ball into center field that Biggers hit, KP, you and I both had that ball down.
Oh, yeah.
And by the time he got to it, it really even wasn't that hard of a catch.
Cruised at the end. I mean, the closing speed is one, but the break is another, and he's got them both.
He's saving a lot of runs for this club.
Zach Watson 0 for 1 of the ground out to third. And he's punched out. Between innings, the umpires got together, tried to figure out how they could calm this game down. Jeff Head and Tony Walsh are mic'd up.
We need issue warnings, okay? The stuff that happened before the game, now we've got this. Just nip it in the bud right now.
Everybody agree?
I agree.
I'll throw them out.
Yeah. So everybody knows the slide was perfectly clean.
Perfectly
out
clean.
here.
Well, they're not worried about that. We know it's clean.
No, in case it comes up again.
Now, here's the question. Hold on. Do we need to get Dave and Paul together out here?
No, I'll just go and tell both of them.
You'll go tell both of them?
Yeah, so you'll go by yourself?
You want me to go tell Dave? Or you tell?
So Tony Walsh told both head coaches.
Like it.
Both have been warned. One more infraction, and you'll be tossed. And a fly out to right field off the bat of Kramer Robertson. 2 down. That's a crew taking charge.
Yeah, just get out in front of the problem. It's not a problem. I mean, this guy's getting fired up. There's no problem. But that's, I mean, we saw a few guys coming out of the bullpen on both sides, few coming out of the dugout on both sides, which is understandable. I mean, you're supposed to have emotion in this game, and I think these guys are doing a good job of kind of slowing it down.
Here's the key, though. And here's what may come into play, especially with the way LSU wants to attack Chad Spanberg.
Yeah.
If anyone gets hit by a pitch, the pitcher's out of the game.
That's what has been decided.
Part of the warning.
Well, hold on. I mean, there's still got to be an intent decided upon. I mean, if
it is intentional,
right? There's still going to be an intent decided upon,
but that also comes with a 4-game suspension.
Yeah,
But they referenced something that happened before the game that I don't know what
it was.
I don't like issuing a warning based on a clean slide at second base. What are we doing? There's a clean slide at second base, and we're issuing a warning. Now, if there was something serious that we don't know about before the game, which obviously there is, he's referring to it, then I guess the cumulative effect of that leads you to that decision. But based on a slide that they all deemed clean, why are we issuing a warning?
Well, I think
it was just because of the guys coming out of the dugout and the guys coming out of the bullpen and just, hey, let's just make sure that everybody takes a little deep breath here. I would assume that's what it was.
We're told that the issue that occurred before the game was immediately following the national anthem, with both teams lined up on the chalk. There were some vulgarities exchanged. So it's a sportsmanship issue.
Well, that's a first.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
You think it's funny. 0-2 pitch. Well, I hope we don't get to that point, but both pitching staffs need to be fully aware of that.
Yeah, they better be aware, because, Tom, you bring up a great point. Somebody runs one into Spanberger and they get tossed. We got problems in the regional next weekend.
Josh Alberius gives Arkansas a clean 5th inning. He retires the side in order. We go to the bottom of the 5th. Bottom of the order due up for LSU. 3-1 Tigers.
So we get ready to go here in Omaha. That is crushed. Diving catch. It's all over. They win the championship.
College World Series starts June 17th in Omaha. Paul Maneri has a national title, one of 6 owned by the LSU Tigers. Dave Van Horn has taken Arkansas 4 times, the last coming in 2015. And both of these teams look like they have the talent not only to get to Omaha, but do some damage.
Yeah, and I think they're both legitimate national title contenders. They check every box. I think LSU maybe checks one more box, because I think that their offense is a little bit more dynamic. They cause you more problems on the base paths than Arkansas. Arkansas is a little bit more station to station, but for both of these ball clubs, it is they're dangerous.
LSU has 11 SEC tournament titles, their last coming in 2014. They went back-to-back 13 and 14. Arkansas hasn't won a conference title since they were in the Southwest Conference. How about the job Eric Walker's doing this season against Arkansas? He's thrown 13 innings and has only allowed 1 earned run. He's pitched to a .69 earned run average against one of the most prolific offenses in the SEC.
You know, I think one of the hardest things to get freshmen to do when they come into this environment is to trust your stuff, especially when you don't have overpowering stuff. And he doesn't have overpowering stuff. He really trusts his stuff. I mean, it's not afraid to go away from the fastball just because the velo isn't necessarily there. The changeup plays whenever he wants to throw it in there. You can be aggressive and not throw 95. The two don't need to go together.
86, 87 above the belt on the last 2 and gets 2 swings and misses. It's a little bit of that invisible that Walker's show you. The ball plays faster than the velo.
Two teams after the national anthem still lined up on the chalk. LSU on the third base side, Arkansas on the first base side. LSU looking pretty loose to me, and I don't see much reaction from the Arkansas guys. But that's the basis and the foundation for what eventually led to a pair of warnings after the hard slide at second base. Hard but legal. Chris Burke is shaking his head. I understand sportsmanship, but do we expect them to be best friends?
I just think let the boys play ball.
Gates rolls one over. That's past Freeman. It'll get into right field for a leadoff single. First time Arkansas has put the leadoff man on today. Tonight will be at PNC Park in Pittsburgh for our Sunday night baseball game presented by Taco Bell. Series finale between the Mets and the Pirates. Our coverage begins at 7 Eastern on ESPN with baseball tonight's Sunday night countdown also streaming live on the ESPN app. Tyler Glasnow, the rookie pitcher for the Pirates, looking to build off his 2 best starts of the season. He's only allowed a couple of earned runs over his last 2 starts. Jack Kenley will come in to run now for Arkansas. Arkansas has played 6 different third basemen this season, so no surprise they would take Gates out in this scenario. Gates' error in the 4th led to an unearned run. Jake Arledge 0 for 1 with a strikeout.
Really good matchup for Walker to get Tony Walsh behind the plate. It is a pitcher zone, and he pitches very well to the edges and the extremes of the strike zone. I think it's a good combination. And KP, you know as well as anybody, the matchup with your umpire definitely affects the ball game when you're not a stuff guy.
Absolutely. If you're a guy that needs to expand the zone a little bit just to get out ahead, and that's exactly what Walker is. And when you see that low strike and you can execute that low strike, that can get you a ways.
KP make a play. If you guys would fight for the check like you fight for a foul ball, we'd be in business.
Berkey's phone's flying onto the.
Just trying to make a play, man. Just trying to make a play.
Thought we were going to lose both of you right out of the booth.
Yeah, but I had you boxed out like that. I had you boxed out, and I was going in with the right hand.
One, 2 to Arledge.
Oh, that's inside.
Gamesmanship. You know warnings have been issued to both sides.
Right.
There is really no penalty for leaning into a pitch.
Not currently. Yeah, you just get called back. It wasn't in my skill set, but I'm sure there's some guys that probably do.
Well hit, deep left field. Duplantis onto the warning track. 1 down. So we'll be watching the scoreboard today, paying special attention to a lot of bubble teams out there. Win and they're in, lose, and we've got some guys steal some bids, including in the Missouri Valley. Well, Missouri State is in, but Illinois State gets the automatic.
Yeah, it's getting smaller right now. Houston was absolutely going to get in. I think Houston will host right now too, but Missouri State out. Missouri State will get in as an at-large. Bubble gets smaller. Southern Miss winning right now. Iowa Northwestern, that was just nobody there was on a bubble. The bubble there was earlier today when Northwestern beat Maryland to get to that game. And Oklahoma State, Texas now, there's one. I think the Pokes came in as the 8th seed in that Big 12 tournament.
We just kind of waited for them to get hot, and they never did until now. And you talk about good timing for a veteran team that had some pitching that was beat up early in the year. And Josh Holliday finally has the offense going, because that was what was really struggling throughout most of the year. And a team that was just a few plays away from playing for it all last year might find themselves back in the big dance.
So one of the most vulnerable on that bubble is South Carolina. They lost their super regional to Oklahoma State last year. Now the Cowboys could beat them twice by knocking them off the bubble and stealing a bid today. That was a senior-laden team last year for Oklahoma State. 3 Big 12 teams made the postseason. All 3 made it to Omaha.
Oklahoma State just posted up the state of South Carolina.
They're worse places to spend a week and a half.
I know. You roll through Clemson, win that regional, then go beat South Carolina in the Super.
And it was the pitching that carried them to Omaha last year.
Nothing in 2 to Eric Cole. Runner at first is Kenley. Eric Cole in the 3rd inning pushed the first one across for Arkansas.
Yeah, fastball they tried to go in on, and Cole just gator arms this ball. A really good athlete. We know about the defense. That ball was launched into right center field, almost over the second wall. Very interesting prospect here in the leadoff spot for the Razorbacks.
They moved Cole to the leadoff spot in the Tennessee series. You said interesting. Dave Van Horn says he probably projects to be more of a 2-hole hitter. What's the difference in your mind?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think maybe he probably feels like there's more power than he's shown, and that's where that comes from. I mean, we see who he has in the 2-hole this year, Spanberger. But I think he sees him as more of a swinger than a true leadoff guy. But I love having a difference maker right out of the gate. KP, you talked about it with Kramer Robertson earlier. I like a guy that scares you in the 1-hole. It just has a different feel to the start of the ball game.
I totally agree. And the other thing I like, which we're starting to see more at the big league level, I like your best hitter hitting second. Spanberger hitting second, that can change you.
Yeah.
That can change the first inning pretty quick now.
That'll make you real nervous right out of the gate.
Could change the 5th inning. He's on deck.
Stuff's starting to look a little different maybe for Walker right now. We've had a base hit, a fly out to the track. You can see Cole is really battling him right here. Nobody up in the pen, though, for LSU. They seem to be fully confident that Walker is still in smooth sailing.
Into right field, it is foul. You mentioned Walker's stark contrast to the way the way Arkansas is handling its pitching staff today with a well-rested staff. Copps, the starter, went 3. Cronin faced 1 batter. Chadwick faced just 1. And it's been Josh Alberia since.
Yeah, a couple clubs handling this differently. And we know Walker has been their guy on Sunday and has thrown complete games. So they trust him to go deep into this ball game.
Let's check in with Laura.
Guys, Dave Van Horn said before this game their offensive approach would be to battle as much as they could to try to work the pitch count up of Eric Walker. And they said they felt like he changes a little bit when he gets around 80 pitches.
This will be his 75th of the game and the 8th pitch of this at bat to Cole. And the count goes full with Chad Spanberger, one of the best power hitters in the game, waiting on deck for Arkansas. 8 hits this week, all of them for extra bases, 5 home runs. There goes the runner. It's strike 3 called, and Cole is punched out. Stolen base for Kenley.
I tell you, Cole gave up on this ball early. I got this ball up and out. Maybe not up, but I got it out. And Cole gave up on it quickly. But again, while I do believe that ball's off the plate, Tony Walsh made it clear early it was a pitcher's strike zone.
Okay, but to play devil's advocate, you are trained not to swing at that pitch. How could you offer?
I agree completely. I just think there has to be a 2-strike switch in the mentality. And while I absolutely believe that's a ball, I think at this point in the game, you got to start to put the onus on yourself to make an adjustment.
That call cost Chad Spanberger a chance to see a hittable pitch here. With first base open, they'll put him aboard. And quite frankly, we've seen coaches earlier this tournament pitch to the sluggers, pitch to the stars, and get burned. You like this play?
Put him on?
Yeah.
Yeah, now, I mean, this is why Arkansas is so dangerous. Bonfield has 9 home runs, hitting 300 coming into the ballgame. So Spanberger's been on a different planet for the last 2 weeks. But Bonfield's a pretty good hitter behind him.
The beautiful thing about the game of baseball, there's always such a clear second guess. Pitch to him, walk him, and it's one or the other. And the argument for pitching to him would be, well, wait a second, you've cut him up in 2 at-bats.
Yeah.
And the argument for walking is, well, wait a second, have you seen the week he's put together? So set up the force out.
Sorry, you've also cut up Luke Bonfield, who was struck out twice. Walker's got 7 strikeouts on the day. The first to Bonfield. Papierski will give it a look, loses the helmet. That'll end the inning. 1 pitch to take care of Bonfield after the intentional walk to Spanberger. No runs, a hit, a pair left in the 5th. 3-1 LSU. Three runs, 4 hits, an error for LSU. 1-4-1 the line for Arkansas. Special moment just moments ago. Major Josh Christian, former Ole Miss baseball player and a member of the 2001 SEC All-Tournament team, piloted the C-17 Globemaster, part of the Mississippi Air National Guard, the 172nd Airlift Wing. They've been practicing the last couple of days. Boys, this is impressive.
Yeah.
That's like Spanberger big.
There's something different about a ball game when you get an airplane flying over right before. I mean, it's awesome.
And how cool that it was Major Josh Christian on the stick.
Yeah, given his baseball background within this league and what he accomplished as a player at Ole Miss, yeah, that was cool.
He was part of the New Orleans All-Regional team while playing with the Rebels. Top of the 6th inning here, Tom Hart, Chris Burke, Kyle Peterson, Laura Rutledge, our fantastic ESPN crew. 16.5 games in the books and nothing decided yet. We've had a wild week here in Hoover. Our first ever no-hitter. Our first ever 3 home run game by an individual. More power that we've seen in this ballpark than almost ever. And with the SEC spring meetings on tap, Commissioner Greg Sankey will join Laura Rutledge and talk a little bit about what this event means to this city and this league.
Oh, that's out.
Antoine Duplantis at the plate for LSU. He was 1 for 2 today. Great to see former Commissioner Mike Slive at the ballpark a couple of days ago with his cancer in remission. Got the all clear again from MD Anderson in Houston. Came out to watch some baseball. What's impressed you the most this week?
I think the sluggers. I think the way the ball has carried off the bats of some of these young talented athletes has shown the depth of hitting talent in this league. And for most of the year, we were highlighting so many of the great aces that we have in this league. But to me, the stars have shown up with the bats this week. Started with Rooker, Spanberger, Dykeman, Cortez.
You got 2 guys with 19 home runs, another one with 21. Cortez continues to have a coming out party and really has, almost from the beginning of the SEC slate this year, 35 home runs, the most has ever been at this ballpark. 5 shutouts. That makes sense, right? 35 home runs and then 5 shutouts right behind it. Yeah, they've been a little bit long, and we do need to figure out a way across the sport to try to bring that down. Not yesterday, though. We got 2 ball games in with a break in less than 6 hours.
This one's lifted to the gap in right center off the bat of Duplantis. Fletcher will cut it off and dropped it. There he goes around second. Duplantis headed to third. Kane will stop him there. Extra bases for Antoine Duplantis. It'll be an error on Dominic Fletcher. He did not pick it up cleanly. His 3rd error of the season, and it cost him 90 feet.
And a bullet into the right center gap, and Fletcher just overruns the baseball, doesn't pay attention to breaking down. And Duplantis, who can really run, as soon as he sees Fletcher misplay this ball, it is off to the races. So much team speed on this LSU club. Love watching these young guys fly around the sacks.
Dave Van Horn went with the matchup with 2 home runs.
He's not going to see many strikes here. Might not see a strike.
Remember, the last Arkansas error led to 3 LSU runs. Well, even that being the case, how reliable does Grant Cook have to be behind the plate right now with Duplantis at third?
Very. But the one thing, though, that you've got going with Alberius is it's not kind of that hammer breaking ball. So if it's down in the dirt, it's probably more falling in the dirt than that overspin that it's really tough to block.
Oh, that's out. This is one of those pitches right here. If you're going to walk him, just walk him. Once it goes to 3-1, I don't think you want to mess around with trying to make a perfect pitch and mess up and leave something out over the plate.
Well executed.
Yep.
Runners at the corners now for Nick Coombs. Coombs was walked with the bases loaded his last time up. Junior out of Baton Rouge Catholic.
A lot to go over right here. You got an LSU club that loves to force the issue. You got speed on the base pass. And as a defense, you got to be careful of the double steal. So Cook comes out and lays out the plays for his defense. This is why you practice these things for situations like this. They don't pop up often, but boy, you better be ready to execute against LSU.
What are you doing? You throwing through here?
I'm probably throwing through in the 6th inning.
I'm throwing through here.
Yeah.
If you can steal it out at second base, and it's probably going to mean that Duplantis is going to score, but you get the bases clear with 4 more bats to go if you're Arkansas.
Cook's thrown out 40% of base stealers coming in, including one today when he caught Dykeman in the 2nd. Duplantis at third has 18 stolen bases on the season in 22 attempts. KP, how about Alberius?
A little bit surprised he's still in there, to be honest with you. I mean, now you got Coombs into a plus count, and he did not show you a very good swing on that slider from Alberius. I think you go back to that and just try to push him 6-8 inches off the plate, see if you can get a swing and miss. There's times in the ball game where you hunt a strikeout. You hunt a strikeout right now. You get to an 0-2 count, guys in first and third, nobody out. You want to swing and miss here.
To me, if you're LSU and you have Antoine Duplantis at third base, based on where the infield is playing right now, I go on contact on the ball down. I send him no matter what. Try to steal a run at the plate, avoid the double play, and at worst, you're first and second with 1 out. Oftentimes you can get an infielder to blink when he sees you react immediately to the ground ball. Ball.
If he gets a strikeout here, I bet that we see Taccolini, because you got power sinker. Well, he's not up anymore. Weston Rogers, a left-hander, is up. If there's a spot that you would want a power sinker guy to come in, it's when you really need to roll a double play.
2-2 to Nick Coombs. Remember the Kramer Robertson at bat in the 4th inning. He was down 0-2, fought back to go full, and then came up with a base hit. Taccolini got to start Thursday. Was throwing earlier, but nothing doing now. Two-two pitch from Alberius. Lifted to center. Fletcher. Duplantis to tag. Fletcher throws home. Here he comes. It is up the line. The tag is not there. Runner breaks for second. Throw through, and Biggers has the tag at second base. Sac fly for Nick Coombs to score Duplantis, but it turns into a double play.
What a slide. Antoine Duplantis stealing a run with a nifty slide at home plate to get the Tigers back on the scoreboard on a really good throw by Dominic Fletcher. Watch this slide right here. Get to the outside. Make yourself as small as possible, and he goes with the right hand.
Yeah, how about the little okey-doke going
this.
in?
You come in, you turn to the side, and use the right arm as the tag hits him right in the face. I think he's in there.
I think he's safe.
This is a reviewable play.
What a slide.
Tony Walsh will go behind the plate and in the tunnel to watch this footage, try and decide via review, safe or out.
Safe.
Yeah, he's safe.
He's safe.
And that is a world-class slide by Antoine Duplantis. And look at him again. Turn the body and take the left hand back as Cook dives and does all he can. The hand just beats the tag, and the Tigers add another run. But credit Cook for getting back to his feet and throwing out Dykeman at second base.
SEC replay protocol. Fair or foul is reviewable. Ground rule double or home run. Catch or no catch. Call of no catch can be changed to a catch in the infield if it's the third out. Spectator interference and collisions at home plate on scoring plays.
I don't think this one will take very long. I mean, it was close. Tony Walsh was in the exact right position for it, but this is, you cannot overemphasize how good this slide is. He goes in with the left hand, he's probably out, but that right hand just clips a piece of the plate on the way by, and I think it got it right before the tag got him on the beak.
Let me throw this at you, though. If they come out and say he's out, in a week where we've seen a record number of home runs, our first ever no-hitter, we could have a triple play on our hands.
That's right.
I don't think they will. I think you guys nailed it.
I mean, it's a one-frame deal. Look how close that is.
That's a great
look.
It's a
one-frame deal. Good work
what
down there.
What a look. Yep. A nice call by Tony Walsh.
Mm-hmm. This is why you have it. Now, ultimately, I mean, I think you got it right the first time, but this is why you have it.
It's got to be a good feeling for an umpire to go in there and know you were right.
Yeah.
Good work. Nice salad.
Yeah, good working. Really good hair. I didn't know he was working with that.
So an 8-2-4 double play on the sacrifice fly. 2 down for Josh Smith. LSU up 4-1. Rope to right. Smith has a pair of hits.
Almost the exact same spot.
Lost in that last play was Dykeman on the base pass. When your runner at third tags, you tag. Your runner at third tags, you tag. Dykeman was in between. Then he got back late, and then he decides to go. And that poor base running decision leads to him getting thrown out at second base, which should be another run right now for the Tigers potentially after Josh Smith just gets that base hit.
Say that first part again just to make sure everybody hears it. Your kid at home.
Kid at home, your runner at tag thirds, your runner at third tags, you tag.
You said it better the first time.
Thank you.
And to clarify, you mean at the exact same time.
That's
Not
right.
on the same play, but at the exact same time.
When you see your guy at third tagging up, you go back and tag up, especially on a ball that's a can of corn. I mean, that ball is an
and you got to have a
ball.
play at the plate.
That's right. You know Fletcher's coming up throwing. You got to get back there and take the extra base. A really big missed opportunity lost in that play.
Why did you think the Jordan brothers would win a national title at LSU?
Just the care factor. They just look like LSU Tigers. There's everything about them speaks. We will fight you to win the title. And plus they're pretty good. I mean, just a couple pretty good players. Bryce may be the better of the two.
Fisted into right field. Eric Cole has it. That'll close the 6. We got a little bit of drama, and we got another LSU run. It's a 4-1 Tiger lead over Arkansas. When we return, we'll go to the suite level. Greg Sankey will share his thoughts with Laura Rutledge.
Back in Hoover and joined by SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey. And throughout this week, we've seen home runs, we've seen a no-hitter. What have you enjoyed about baseball in the SEC?
I think we've seen the most stand-up triples in a conference tournament as well. The long ball has been fascinating. But it's good to be back here. You know, the city of Hoover made a commitment, has built us a building, is working on more practice fields. And once we got through the rain, great weather, great baseball.
You mentioned the city of Hoover. I think I've heard this so many times this week. It just feels right to have this tournament here in Hoover. What can you say about having it back here?
Well, they've built a campus for us now. We're in that process. And I think today's evidence that people are used to coming here. There's a bit of tradition. It's been 20 years now. And hopefully we'll continue that tradition and keep fans coming out to be a part of SEC baseball on Memorial Day weekend.
You head to Destin for the spring meetings next. What's on the agenda there?
Well, my biggest piece is to get to dinner Friday when it's all done. We'll talk a lot about the stuff that's not really that interesting. The good news is we had a wonderful spring in men's and women's basketball, a national championship. So probably some patting of the back in that sport. You know, football's gone through a lot of recruiting changes. I think our coaches will talk about that, as well as the medical aspects of the sport that have been identified by the NCAA's chief medical officer. You know, transfer issues seems to have grabbed the media's attention. And probably talk a lot about who we are as a conference and as a family of 14 great universities.
You mentioned basketball and the success we've seen there. What's worked from that standpoint?
Well, I think on the men's side, we went through a lot of transition of coaches. We also did a little bit of a deep dive into the academic progress rate, and that's when you kind of become Charlie Brown's teacher, right? People stop listening. But the academic success of our student athletes over the last decade of men's basketball has changed greatly. And I think there was a period of adjustment. And when you look at the coaches we've added, Mike White in his second year at Florida wins Coach of the Year. We bring in Bryce Drew, our two guys in Will Wade and Conzo Martin that are doing great things in recruiting, and add them to either the coaches that just came in or those that have been here a while. And we've got as good a group of coaches as I think anybody in the country, and we'll look to see that sport continue to make progress.
You're always around what we're doing at these different events, but you also sometimes get to do some things you like. You recently went to a U2 concert. How was that?
It was last Saturday in Pasadena. It was outstanding at the Rose Bowl. I've been there for 2 football games and now one U2 concert, and it's like reliving my late 80s experience, because that Joshua Tree came out in '87. I'm going to see them 2 more times this summer, so that's a bit of my getaway, if you will.
Have you gotten a chance to try out the zip line at the Fan Fest yet, or the Ferris wheel?
Absolutely not. I admired your interview skills on top of the Ferris wheel, but I feel really good on the ground or in a suite.
What about football when you look forward to the SEC in this next season? What do you think the discussions will be? What's the landscape of the conference at this point going forward?
I expect us to talk about really the transition we've seen in preseason practice, the elimination of two-a-days a week earlier to start the practice date. What does that mean for our coaches? I expect that'll be a conversation. We've got returning quarterbacks by almost the truckload, if you will, and we haven't had that over the last 5 or 6 years. In fact, Bill Belichick was at our men's basketball tournament championship game, and while Kentucky and Arkansas played, he and I were talking about kind of the quarterbacks in the league, which was fascinating for me. I expect that we have 14 fan bases that think they're going to win the national championship, but we're going to experience the Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta at the end of this season for our championship game. So I think it'll just be another special way to celebrate the Southeastern Conference and hopefully an incredibly successful regular season in football.
All right, so guys, as you can tell, I mean, you guys can relate to late 80s rock and all of that, right? You know a thing or two about that?
Yeah, we can take that easy. I mean,
some more than others.
Mm-hmm. Football's right around the corner. We're under 100 days. Still haven't found what I'm looking for, but your Tennessee Volunteers go on Monday.
Oh, yeah.
September 4th against Georgia Tech. Jax Biggers at the plate, the 2-1 pitch. That one to the right side and through. Let's go back to Laura with the commissioner.
Yeah, you know, actually, Tom, Commissioner Sankey was just saying maybe we should talk about Plinko. That's been a big discussion topic for the booth this week, right?
Interesting.
We had a few late nights, right? I listened, and there was Ben McDonald's chicken feet, which I think was an edible concoction of some sort. And then the analysis of Price is Right while the rain is falling and you're waiting and waiting, and it becomes 1 a.m. was fascinating, shall we say.
Well, Laura, he's learned how to kill time during baseball games. He's a former bullpen catcher. What does he do to kill the time during a long game or a rain delay?
Yeah, Tom's asking about you being a former bullpen catcher. You know a thing or two about killing time in a rain delay. What do?
You learn how to spit sunflower seeds effectively. That was the skill I've retained from those days.
What's your flavor of choice, real fast? Sunflower seeds, flavor of choice.
Oh, just straight up with salt.
All right, you heard it here first. Thanks, Greg Sankey.
Thank you.
Laura, thanks. A single by Biggers, but he's left stranded. 6 in the books, 4-1 LSU.
The SEC Baseball Championship is brought to you by AutoZone. From parts to helpful service, let's get what you need. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
Happy Memorial Day weekend. Fantastic national anthem. A man was painting and singing awesome at the same time.
Yeah.
And speaking of Memorial Day, our SEC umpiring crew is wearing special commemorative camo hats this week to honor our nation's military forces. Honor those currently serving and remember our veterans, especially those who have paid the ultimate prices we approach the weekend. They also want to honor the memory of 2 young lives lost during this season. Each cap is embroidered in purple with HGH and CMS. They represent the daughters of 2 SEC umpires. Alice Grace Henderson of Lexington, Tennessee, was lost in a car accident March 21st. Chloe Michelle Sanders of Little Rock, Arkansas, was lost to cancer on May 14th. Dominic Taccolini now on the mound for Arkansas.
Well, the Hawks have somebody in there now that can take them through the back end of this if they want. Taccolini started coming out of the bullpen. He's done a little bit of everything for Arkansas this year. Started on the front end, was the first of 3 in Arkansas's no-hitter earlier this week. It's a sinker and a slider primarily, and if the sinker is right and if he's getting swings at it, Taccolini will get a ton of ground balls.
So the commissioner was at a U2 concert, huh?
Went to Pasadena to check it out.
What was that? What's your favorite track from the Joshua Tree?
That Streets Have No, Where the Streets Have No Name, is that on that?
That's on there.
I'll go With or Without You.
Pretty good.
The Craig Biggio soundtrack when he used to come up to bat.
there you go.
He always came up to bat to YouTube.
And as far as my partners are concerned in the booth this week, I still haven't found what I'm looking for.
Fair enough.
We can do this again.
We're in God's country. How about the exit with Dominic Taccolini and how his head responds?
Yeah, this one's going to sting now. I mean, right when he lets it go and then whammo. That head just fires off for Taccolini. Comes all the way back in because now you got to check out, figure out exactly where the pitch went.
Looks like a horror movie. The Mothers of the Disappeared. Two and two.
Two-seamer in there. Papierski hasn't done it, but plenty others have gone to One Tree Hill out in right field this year. Home run after home run at Hoover. But you throw two-seam fastballs bottom part of the zone and get that call, which is what we've seen today. Tony Walsh had that low strike zone.
Is Tony Walsh's boss, Paul Gillier?
He got him a hat on too.
Yeah, he looks
That's
good
a good
in that
man
hat.
now. That's a good man now. Was a great umpire, now overseeing the SEC umpires. Helps us out during the course of the year. Good old Cajun accent on him.
He's been a big help this week. We especially appreciate the umpires being mic'd up throughout this entire week to help us explain the rules of the game and the nuances a little bit better through their words. Especially helpful today.
Had some great conversations with Mr. Gillier about pace of play and how to speed it up. And
what we got?
Basically, all of the things that surround pitching changes, excuse me, and meetings at the mound, and when does a coach make a pitching change, and can position players come to the mound, all those kinds of things. If we're serious about shortening the time of games, I think we really need to look at all those things.
Well, I think we should be serious about shortening the time of games. I think that's a very good idea, and it's one thing that we really need to look at in our game right now.
The other one is hitters getting out of the batter's box, and the rule is 1 foot in, which most guys adhere to, but when they don't, the penalty being severe enough and without warning, I think would take away that issue quickly.
Watson touches this one deep to left field. It is caught at the fence. Any other day this week, that one's near the parking lot.
In about a year or two, that ball will be in the parking lot. Zach Watson, just a freshman. Not enough horsepower to get that one out of the yard, but you're right, Tommy. That one didn't carry like many that we've seen this week.
And you wonder if the ball isn't carrying, how that's going to affect Arkansas's chances in the back third of this game. With their slugging offense leading the league in home runs, they have yet to figure out Eric Walker, just 1 run and an Eric Cole home run. Back to the top of the order, Kramer Robertson. Talk with Kramer today and about that turnaround that they made going into the Alabama series. He boarded the team bus that day, and the assistants pulled him aside. They knew he was frustrated, and they said, "We got a gift for you. This is your spray chart from last year. 46 of your 84 hits came up the middle. And when you hit the ball up the middle, 88 times over the course of the season, you got a base hit 46 times. So let's use the middle of the field." He'd gotten a little pull happy. He's turned it on since then.
Great advice. As long as they play this game, hitting coaches would be telling hitters to use the middle of the field. It's just as simple as it gets. Why? You're letting the ball travel, number one. Number two, the path is working back to front as opposed to right to left. And there's always more base hits when the barrel is working through the zone as opposed to across it, and that's the problem Robertson had ran into.
For me, he has the bat of the game today. That leadoff single in the 4th inning.
Yeah.
0-2 to 3-2 in the count. Fought a few off, flipped it to right field. Freeman hits the ball hard. Duplantis singles. LSU scores 3 runs in the inning, but it starts by a leadoff single and a 9-pitch at bat by Kramer Robertson.
Punched out on a breaking ball. Taccolini sets down the side in order. Championship Sunday in Hoover. 4-1 lead for LSU as we step into the stretch. And the dulcet tones of Tony Walsh take us to a commercial break. We'll have a Memorial Day triple header for you on ESPN. It all starts at 1 Eastern with the Yankees and Orioles, and then after that one's over to Nationals and Giants. And finally, the Royals host the Tigers at Kauffman Stadium. As always, all 3 games also streaming live on the ESPN app. You hungry?
Bring it. Yes.
KP. Family?
Always smell bacon.
Always. Family in Baton Rouge.
Got family everywhere if you got bacon for
What's better, bacon-flavored sunflower seeds or the bacon palmetto cheese that you tried in Baton Rouge?
Yes.
Okay. Smith will give it a look into the 3rd row.
That bacon palmetto cheese that'll make you give stuff back you didn't take. I mean, that was good.
What does that even mean?
Just think about it. Like, it's so good that you'll give stuff back that you actually didn't take because you want more of it. Pretty straightforward.
I knew you were into it when you asked, what do I do? Pretzel chips, pita chips, crackers, and before I could answer, you had 2
pinky
fingers,
finger,
2 knuckles deep.
Pinky finger. Just a nosedive.
Jack Kenley's first plate appearance, and he goes down swinging against Eric Walker, who has quietly put together a fantastic outing and lost in all the offense in this tournament. If LSU doesn't allow another run, it'll post the lowest ERA in SEC tournament history among teams who play at least 4. Current record is 109.
We talked about the fastball playing up. That's 87 mid-thigh and on the plate, and he gets a swing and miss. Eric Walker has the invisible going against the Razorbacks. They just don't have an answer for him.
LSU pitching to a .84 earned run average in this tournament.
Copyright Kenny Dunlap. That's the 13th time he's gone to a 2-strike count today. 12 of those times, Walker's recording an out.
Jake Arledge in the 9-hole. Dykeman, Freeman, Dykeman. 2 down. Couple bubble teams in the SEC. What's your take on South Carolina right now?
Me? I don't think they're going to get in. We were talking about this before the game, okay? So I think the hardest thing with South Carolina is South Carolina can win a regional and South Carolina can win a super regional.
Right.
But the problem is it's a hard resume.
Yeah.
It's just a hard resume. Tyler Johnson missed a lot of time. Does that get looked at differently now that he's back and he's healthy?
I think it plays in, but let's just put Ole Miss and South Carolina toe to toe. Let's just put those two. Ole Miss won 5 series. South Carolina wins 2. It's even though South Carolina went much farther in this tournament, it's tough to make up that if it's between those 2 teams in this league.
And it may be.
101 pitches now for Eric Walker. He has not showed signs of tiring. Arkansas thought they could get to him, that he'd be a better, different pitcher after 85. That's not the case. He has tied his career high with 8 strikeouts. This can be tough if you're trying to hang the K's. Yes?
That's a balk. That's a balk. Runners advance.
K-Lady denied for now. Freeman to his knees.
Uh-oh.
Out at the bag. Nick Coombs had to go down in the dirt to scoop it. Cole made it interesting. It'll close the 7th. Eric Walker has tied his career high with 8 Ks. Cole and Coombs collide. Shot to the backside, didn't knock the ball out. Coombs holds on after the kick in the rear. It's a 4-1 LSU lead. Welcome back to the 2017 SEC Baseball Championship. This is the SEC on ESPN. Tonight will be at PNC Park in Pittsburgh, our Sunday night baseball game presented by Taco Bell. Series finale between the Mets and Pirates. Coverage starts at 7 Eastern with Baseball Tonight's Sunday night countdown, also streaming live on the ESPN app. Fantastic job by a crew all week. 16 games, a couple of rain delays, one game that ended at 2:05 in the morning Eastern, and they have been fantastic all week.
Yes,
Thank you, gang.
Mm-hmm. Weather, late nights.
Have to listen to us all game.
That's a good point.
Unbelievable.
That's a very good point. That Tony Walsh is, that one.
Wait, as a camera guy, shouldn't you know which angle to wave to?
Is that Joe? That was Joe, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Come on, Joe.
Little dribbler. Taccolini shovels it on down. So it's pretty simple. The angle's coming to you from that side, Joe. Put the right hand up. From our camera operators, the folks in the truck, our runners, stats and info, our research people. Fantastic ops team. We're the only faces you see, but they're the ones doing the work, so thank you. Here's Antoine Duplantis, pulls one foul. Talking with some of the LSU players before the game today, and they referenced championship heritage of this LSU program, right? Already 11 SEC tournament titles, 6 national championships, and Paul Mainieri is a fantastic steward of the program, and he has great help, including guys like Nolan Cain, Micah Gibbs, and Sean Ochinko. They all played here. They all won a national title. Cain was on that 2009 national championship team, as was Gibbs, who was an All-American. Starting catcher on that team. Sean Ochinko had a tremendous postseason, hit 2 home runs in the College World Series. And they're talking about the fact that these guys can relate to us. These young coaches can relate to us. And I asked Sean Ochinko that question. I said, do you see any similarities in this team to the 2009 team? He said, absolutely. We had that pride of wearing the jersey. We knew how important it was. And we had young coaching staffs that had been there before that pulled us along.
You know, I would tell, and it may be more so than anywhere else because of what the fan interest and the noises that you hear all over the place. When you have a coaching staff here that has 3 guys that played here, going through that stuff in Baton Rouge is different. I mean, we've seen that coming into town, and you got a lot of guys standing there that can relate to it.
Antoine Duplantis caught swinging, 2 down. I talked to Paul Mainieri about it before. I said I really appreciate the fact that you take this tournament seriously, and these are must-win games. It just means more to you. He said it goes hand in hand with the fact that we have this incredible fan base that shows up, and you feel a responsibility to this fan base.
Yeah, absolutely. And they play like that. They manage their pitching staff like that. The players come out with a sense of urgency associated with a program who has made this a priority.
Fourth largest championship game attendance ever, 13,128 in the building.
Like it.
A Greg Dykman home run would send him into a lather. To left.
Today.
1-2-3 frame worked by Taccolini. Arkansas anxious for some offense. They start him early on the Bayou, cheering loud and proud. Her Tigers have a 4-1 lead in the 8th.
Chad Spanberger leading off this inning for Arkansas, and I think I know why he's been so hot at the plate. Back in early March, there's an Arkansas softball player named Nicole Schroeder. She was on fire at the plate, hit 5 home runs in a week, including 2 grand slams, won SEC Player of the Week. And Chad Spanberger knows her. He went up to her and said, hey, can I touch your arm or something and have some of this magic rub off on me? She said, all right, sure. So he was scuffling at the time, and he said it took about a month for that magic to start kicking in. Well, yesterday when he continued his hot streak at the plate with home runs, she texted him and said, hey, remember when I gave you my magic? Can you give a little bit of that back again? Because you are on fire. Pretty fun relationship between these two.
That's awesome. By the way, Beth Torina has the LSU softball team headed back to Oklahoma City. Women's College World Series starts next week in Oklahoma City. Chad Spanberger at the plate. He is 0 for 2. Ground out, a strikeout, and an intentional walk.
I love the story. I don't know when you're built 6'3", 240 that you need a ton of magic. I think my man right here, this is brute strength. And combine that with a pitch recognition this week where he seems to be on everything, and you get a monster week that most people would agree has shot him up draft boards, put him in a position to really change where he was going to be selected in next month's draft.
Be careful with that changeup here. 4th time now that Spanberger has seen Eric Walker. One of those changeups hangs up just a little bit too high. He can make it 4-2 in a heartbeat.
Ooh. Spanberger held without a hit today. After our Sunday night baseball game between the Mets Pirates on ESPN, Memorial Day weekend rolls on with SportsCenter at night, hosted by the always entertaining Bucci and Anderson. We'll have a full breakdown of the Indy 500, Day 1 at the French Open, MLB's Best, a Stanley Cup Final preview, and everything else. SportsCenter at night, also streaming live on the ESPN app. How about this? Wayne Graham is back in the postseason.
That's the only way they were getting in. Rice beats Southern Miss, and they are back.
It's a walk-off double for the Owls.
Southern Miss still going to host.
So that steals a bid, and the city of Houston well represented. Houston, Rice, Texas Southern.
Mm-hmm.
All of those are in. They'll be joined in the Lone Star State by Texas A&M and Texas.
It's not a good day to be a bubble team.
What else is going on
right now? It's just not.
Illinois State stole a bid out of the Valley by knocking off Missouri State in Springfield, Missouri. Xavier knocked out St. John's.
Oklahoma State leads Texas. Last check, it was 6-5 in the 8th. And that's the only way that Oklahoma State gets in. Now 6-5 top of the 9th. Oklahoma State leads Texas. That steals another one. St. John's got beat earlier today by Xavier. It took 2 in the 9th for Rice to win that game. They're down 5-4 going into their last at bat.
What a turnaround.
NCAA Baseball Championship Selection Special tomorrow at noon on ESPN2. Later this evening, the selection committee will announce the 16 host sites. Bonfield to the left side. Kramer Robertson gathers. 2 down.
I need to say this on record. We had a conversation a couple days ago about pitching staffs, and I was not sold on Eric Walker being a legit number 3, and I will say this. He has proved me wrong today.
This is with LSU great Todd Walker on the SEC Now set. Paul Maneri has the wrong guy. He wants to go to the lefty, and that's what he'll do. Had to get the attention of the umpiring crew. 7 2/3 for Walker, and an ovation from the LSU faithful.
How about the freshman today now? Comes in, he's been the third starter most of the year, and for Eric Walker, he showed you everything you could possibly want if you're LSU. The last time somebody went 7 or more in a championship game was 2011. Taylor Hill did it for Vandy. Eric Walker went further than that. 7 2/3, 5 hits, an earned run, and the freshman struck out 8. He was phenomenal. That gives you a pretty good feeling going into the postseason. Yeah. You got that cat throwing game 3.
Well, we knew LSU was one of the best well-rounded teams in college baseball as this week progressed. What difference does he make in the postseason specifically?
Regional. That's the biggest, is regional. You got to win 3 games. You get into a super, you win the first 2. He doesn't pitch. But the other thing it does, and what's today? Sunday? You're probably not going to bring him back on 4 days rest. I mean, and you will see this. You will see this in some places. Potentially your third starter going against game 1, depending on what 4 seed you get. But it gives you a legitimate bang, bang, bang going into a regional.
Yeah, and I think it helps you manage your bullpen. When you've seen him handle this stage the way he has, now if Poche gets in trouble in the 1-0 game in a regional, you can go ahead and fire some bullets knowing you trust your guy in game 3 because the moment's obviously not too big for him.
Big picture, Arkansas, they came in with a red-hot offense. They've been slow to just 1 run on 5 hits today. Any concern going into a regional?
Not really. Eric Walker obviously has the formula to figure these guys out, but I still love their offense. The pitching has really impressed me. Mm-hmm. Even in a loss today, their pitching has impressed me. I think Arkansas is poised and ready to have a really good postseason run.
A lot on the line for bubble teams today. KP, you talked about some of those scores that have come in. South Carolina just hanging by a thread.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. I mean, it's South Carolina, Ole Miss, some others needed to be fans today of teams that were already going to be in. And there's been a lot of clubs that have played themselves into the tournament today that would not have been at large bids. We just saw Rice a minute ago.
Nick Bush is the new pitcher for LSU. Wednesday against Missouri. Went 2 innings, allowed 3 hits, threw 43 pitches. Dominic Fletcher being booed by the LSU faithful. Remember, he had a takeout slide that was perfectly legal at second base earlier, and he's trying to answer him with a moon blast to right. Dykeman to the fence, and he brought it back in but couldn't catch it. Fletcher on his way to second. Great effort by Dykeman. Instead of a home run, it's a double.
This kid has real power. The ball just stays in the air off his bat. Dykeman gets to the wall and gloves it, but the impact of the glove coming back in play just kind of catapults the baseball out of the glove. But still, he saves 2 bases and saves the Tigers a run by getting to the fence and having the athleticism to get over the top and keep that ball in play.
So that'll be it for Bush. And Zach Hess will enter for LSU. Talk with Paul Maneri before the game today. I said, how do you break down the course of your season and how do you treat it in regards to finishing strong and finishing hot as they typically do? He said, listen, what we use our midweek games for and early season games for is to figure out who we can trust. He said, and there are lessons to be learned in losses. Yeah, they had 4 midweek losses this year.
Yeah.
Not what he expected. He said, but we got value out of every one of those. We put relievers in a position to see if they could garner our trust and deserved it. Some didn't. We had to learn that. Some did. And that's how they're able to solidify their bullpen going back. It also helps when you get healthy.
It does, yeah, and this kid's been a big part of it too. I mean, Zach Hess just a freshman, and he does have 6 starts this year, but he fits great in this spot of the bullpen because all you're trying to do at this point is bridge the gap and get it to Hunter Newman, who will close this ball game out if it stays the same way. How about 63 strikeouts in 49 innings? That's stuff. That's the biggest thing that jumps out right here. And back into the bullpen, you like stuff.
Let me show you something really cool, guys. Dominic Fletcher at second base. We go back to the 4th inning. Fletcher is at first. Perfectly legal slide into Cole Freeman, and it turned Freeman into a yard sale. Oakley's flying, goes right over the top of him, and that brought Arkansas out of the dugout, and it brought some words from the LSU guys. So Dominic Fletcher moments ago strokes a double to right. He's out there next to Freeman, and we heard Paul Maneri say his guys think the slide was clean and all good. Good to see.
Just two dudes playing hard, man. Sometimes that happens. It's you do. You like seeing it based on everything else that went on, and it was a good catch to see it right there. But two pretty good players right there. Sometimes you got contact. Sometimes things happen. But I thought it was clean, and we heard Paul Maneri and some of the sound we had earlier say that, hey, our guys thought it was a clean slide. Rough, yes, but it was absolutely clean.
I thought it was interesting right there. Fletcher was not the one that initiated the interaction right there. Freeman actually went up to Fletcher, and I think part of the issue was the way Fletcher left the field.
Yes.
I think normally people would maybe help a guy up or just check to see if it was okay. Fletcher made that slide and ran right off the field. And right here, you notice Fletcher's not real concerned with saying, I'm sorry. And Freeman seeks him out just to kind of let him know, hey, man, I didn't think anything was wrong with that slide. Look at Fletcher even points out, like, hey, man, you're in the line. So I
just want to remind you.
Just a reminder, hey, dude, I'm allowed to slide. This dude right here, that's a grinder now. I go to war with that guy.
You just don't know when to quit, do you, sexy boy? Here's Shaddy. He is 1 for 3. Second appearance of the tournament for Zach Hess. He's the son of SEC basketball official Carl Hess. So is there a responsibility if you spill an infielder to help him up or show him remorse at that moment?
I don't think there's a responsibility. I think most people do. I thought it gave you a little insight into the competitiveness of Fletcher and how sure he was that he did nothing wrong. Just no concern with the contact.
Big moment in the game here, maybe last moment for Arkansas with a runner in scoring position, down by 3. Carson Shaddy down in the count, 0-2. We've seen a wide zone for Tony Walsh throughout the course of the game. How does Shaddy treat this 0-2 pitch?
You got to defend everything right here. Advantage Zach Hess. 0-2 count. Pitcher friendly zone.
And he had to swing at that one. Hess strikes him out to leave a runner on. Arkansas is stranded 7 today, and LSU 3 outs away from championship number 12. It's the 41st SEC tournament, and this one looks to be LSU's. It's a 4-1 lead, top of the 9th inning for the Tigers. Nick Coombs has driven in a pair today. Bases loaded walk in the 4th and a sac fly in the 6th. Memorial Day tripleheader comes your way tomorrow on ESPN. All starts at 1 Eastern. We'll get it going with the Yankees and the Orioles, and after that one's over, Nationals and Giants, and finally back to Kansas City where the Royals host the Tigers at Kauffman Stadium. All games streaming live on the ESPN app. Yankees have a 2-game lead in the American League East. The O's staring down a 6-game losing streak. Great college players in some of those teams.
How about the fighting A.J. Hinch's, by the way?
Would that be the Astros?
35-16 right now. Huh?
Some pretty good players on that team.
Huh? Guy that used to wear this color playing.
Oh, yeah. George Springer, former UConn Husky.
Dallas Keuchel, we got one from each side. Hunter Newman up and throwing, the closer for LSU. 9 saves with a .81 ERA. That's good at the back end of the bullpen.
Shaddy. One down. Been some pretty good ones coming out of this league, and another couple good ones coming up. Kyle Wright may be the first overall pick. This is the mock draft. Has him going 4th, but my guys in the Twin Cities tell me that the Twins are anxious to get a frontline college pitcher who could be ready in the next 2 to 3 years.
That's your guy then. That's your guy. And there had been discussions about Brendan McKay at that #1 spot too, and I'm sure that they still exist. Alex Faedo from Florida. Jaron Kendall coming into this year, there was some discussion about Kendall potentially being a top 5 guy. And then Tanner Houck. Alex Lang's going to hear his name called very early this year as well.
Blaine Knight, maybe. See how that goes. Maybe Stephen, the way he's pitched down the stretch.
Will Crow.
Couple power arms. Yeah, Will Crow.
Will Crow will be a top 40 overall guy.
Be interesting to see what happens with Clark Schmidt after his injury, because he was ready to be a first-round pick.
Kenley takes care of Jordan. It's a 1-2-3 frame. It's the last chance for Arkansas with a tournament title on the line. LSU will likely go to their closer. Biggers, Cook, and Kenley do. LSU looking for its 12th SEC tournament championship. Nobody's been better, and they're 3 outs away from number 12. Fantastic history and tradition with this LSU program, and they'll turn it over to their closer, Hunter Newman. Try and finish this one up. Let's take a trip back to the SEC tournament titles. They hosted it in 2008 right here in Hoover. Then back-to-back, got it again in 09. That was before a national championship. 2010 was pretty good as well. Then back-to-back again, 13 and 14. A lot of smiles. Hunter Newman is the closer.
He is the closer, and he's fit really well in that role this year. We told you about the numbers a minute ago. For Newman, 9 saves, a .81 ERA. And the other thing I like about Newman when he comes in, there's a sense of calm when he comes into the ball game at the back end of the bullpen. It just feels like all is right when Newman comes in. Just 2 earned runs, 22 and a third innings, 9 saves. That's 5th in the league.
Jax Biggers leads things off for Arkansas. Biggers is 1 for 3 today. And he pumps 89 for a first pitch strike.
Yeah, this is not your traditional closer. 87, 89, big breaking ball, which is his bread and butter. This is not a come in and blow guys away with the fastball kind of dude.
LSU has played 37 games this season when they have the lead after 8. They've only lost twice in this scenario. Battling the sun is Freeman. 1 down. We'll know the NCAA tournament sites tonight at 7:30 Eastern, tomorrow at noon on ESPN2. Kyle Peterson will be sitting in an air-conditioned studio. Tell us who's going where, the NCAA Baseball Championship Selection Special. Who are you going to be with?
With Schick and Runes in Bristol. Berkey will be in Charlotte. We kind of got you all over the place, Tommy Hart.
It's good.
Runes is probably at 30,000 feet right now, doing every possible bubble scenario.
Yes, he probably has every team's lineup memorized at this point.
Give me a prediction for a Selection Monday surprise. What might surprise folks at home?
As far as a team that gets in,
a team, a seeding.
Well, I'll tell you one that played into it today, which is what I like on the last day of the season. To me, Houston played in as a host, and rightfully so. The American has been kind of a sleeper, very good conference this year. UConn fighting to get an at-large down there. East Carolina couldn't play their way in, but I think Houston got themselves a host site.
You think Florida State did the same today?
Could have, yeah, but I think they're the 16th. I think Houston. To me, Houston slots ahead of them.
The catcher Cook looks at a strike, 2-1. What do you got, Berkey?
No, I was going Florida State, and if you followed the season at all, Florida State was a bubble team a short time ago.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah, the way they have finished, especially beating Louisville now 3 times, twice at their place and then once in the tournament, has drastically changed the trajectory of their season.
Okay, so let me run through predicted hosts. You guys tell me what I'm missing. Out west, we got Oregon State, Long Beach, and Stanford.
Yep.
Out of the Big 12, TCU, Texas Tech. SEC, LSU, Florida, Kentucky, Arkansas. ACC, Louisville, Virginia, Carolina, and Wake. Then you got Southern Miss and Florida State. Sorry. Then you got Southern Miss and Houston to round things out.
That's 16.
That's 16.
That would be my 16.
I think it's 16-ish.
We're all good with ish.
Cook yanks it foul.
Look out, Tony. I tell you the one, when we talk about bubbles and there's not as many opportunities as potentially there could have been at the end of the day because the teams that were upset winners in the conference championships, that doesn't help Miami. That does not help Miami at all.
They've been to 44 consecutive NCAA tournaments. There is no longer streak in the history of college athletics.
No, and there was a moment there where you thought Rice, Florida State, and Miami were all going to miss, and now Florida State and Rice are in. Florida State may be a host, and the question is Miami going to keep it up or not? They will be waiting anxiously tomorrow.
Gets back to the backstop, and Cook will take first base. Rice is in by winning the Conference USA title. It's the 23rd consecutive NCAA tournament appearance for the Owls. Miami has an RPI in the top 40, a strength of schedule in the top 10. They had a good run in the ACC tournament, knocked off Georgia Tech and a postseason team in Wake Forest, but lost to a national seed in the semis.
Here's the positive negative on Miami. You include the conference tournament, they went 18-14 in the ACC, and the ACC is a very, very good league. The negative is the teams that they beat, besides that Wake Forest right there, but the series wins this year from Miami within the league were all against the bottom portion of the league.
7-16 versus the top 50. That's the one thing that's going to keep them out if they don't get in. I think ultimately they get in because of the conference record. I think the history would say with their RPI and their conference record, they probably get in.
After the walk to Cook, Evan Lee pitch hitting. 341 average for Lee. Freshman from Bryan, Arkansas.
Hit him.
2 on.
Look out now.
And Arkansas's got something brewing with 1 out. Tying run coming to the plate. This will be Alex Gosser. Pinch hit appearance for Gosser, their backup catcher.
He can lean on one now, make it 4-4.
3 home runs on the season for Gosser. The ball just isn't carrying today. It's not carrying down the lines. The home run we saw from Cole was absolutely mashed, but we've seen a couple fly balls deep into the corners that have come down on the track. Paul Mainieri told his guys it's something special. He got to go to bed last night with a chance to play for a championship the next day. He's hoping to have a few more of those opportunities this season. He said, I've been lucky enough to do it twice with my team in Omaha. We won one, we lost one. I said, how did you sleep? Same as always, his reply, not good. There are some nerves in that man right now. Maybe not Hunter Newman, we'll see. One-0 to Gosser. Upstairs, 2-0. After this, you get back to the top of the order and you bring Chad Spanberger into play. He is in the hole right now.
Of course, Eric Cole, who's already gone deep in this ball game, responsible for the only run the Razorbacks have, waiting on deck. He'll have a chance, barring a double play, he'll have a chance to tie this game up.
Freeman playing kind of shallow at second. Here's the 2-0. Popped him up. Kramer Robertson calls for it. And the senior has the second out. Tying run still at the plate. This time it's in the form of Eric Cole. He's provided all the offense for Arkansas today with this swing in the third.
Walker, the one elevated fastball he did not get away with was to Eric Cole. Tried to go in. Cole made him pay, and that has been it for the Razorbacks in this ball game. Cole trying to be all the offense for Arkansas today.
Doesn't it just feel right that we should get to Spanberger with this entire tournament on the... Just for everything that's happened here over the last 5 days, that just kind of feels like the way it ought to happen. One way or another, win or loss on that side.
Got to get through Cole first. 1-0. The home run from Cole in the third was his 5th of the year. More balls and strikes from the closer Newman this ninth. 2-0. Spanberger waits. 5 home runs this week, but hitless today.
Pitching awfully careful, KP. Every ball fading away on him, and this was not an aggressive pitch sequence to this point by Hunter Newman. And now at 3-0, you're in a world of hurt with Chad Spanberger standing on deck.
Just doesn't look like he can find any consistency with that fastball location right now. Good there.
The challenge here for a hitter is to not get big and feel like you got to tie the game up. You got a great offense. You're in a hitter's count. Use the whole field and keep the line moving. The best chance to win this ball game is not to tie it up. It's to get a base hit and keep the line moving right here.
Wow. The count has gone full, and that changes everything for Eric Cole with a 2-strike approach and this strike zone. The 3-2 from Newman.
And after the 3-1, you know if you're Eric Cole where the ball's coming. It is going away. And you have got to get your nose out over the plate and try to cover that pitch, because there's no reason for Newman to throw it anywhere else at this point.
The slugger waits. The 3-2 again. into the corner, fouled. Duplantis will give up on it. It's on the hill.
Just a nice job of the hitter making an adjustment, Tommy. We've been talking about that all game. And once he realizes that pitch off the plate is going to be called, he is refusing to go down and leave the at-bat in the umpire's hands.
This will be the 8th pitch of the at-bat from Hunter Newman to Eric Cole. Up the middle, base hit. Cook around third to score. Lee will stop at the bag, and Spanberger will get his chance.
It's a big-time AB right there.
Chad Spanberger has turned into one of the hottest hitters in college baseball. He has treated this ballpark like a T-ball field all week long. 5 home runs, 3 doubles, and Paul Maneri will go talk with Newman. The tying run is at first base. Is there any reason to move the tying run to second base by pitching around Spanberger?
I think you got to pitch to him. I think you've had some success against him. And what we've seen from him this week is that he has tremendous plate coverage. So the matchup to watch in this at bat is Hunter Newman wanting to throw fastballs away, and Spanberger's plate coverage. You see the damage he has done. So KP, can Hunter Newman go to another pitch? We know he loves the breaking ball to try to erase Spanberger.
Here's the challenge, I think, right now, if you're Paul Maneri, is the matchup that you have on the mound does not match up great with the guy walking to the plate. Because Hunter Newman wants to go arm side fastball, run it away. Spanberger's going to climb on the plate right now. And conventional wisdom, I know, doesn't say walk the guy. I'm not letting him win the baseball game right here. I'm just not doing it.
Well, yeah, and conventional wisdom says just stay away, but this is a guy that can launch it oppo too. So it's just an extremely scary at bat against a pitcher who's certainly not on his A game.
They're going to put him on. Wow. They're going to intentionally walk Chad Spanberger. That'll load the bases for Luke Bonfield. It will move the tying run to second base. An incredible amount of respect for one of the hottest hitters in the game.
I mean, so this is great. We were talking about this the other day. A week ago, you don't even consider this.
No.
Like, it does not even enter your mind that you're going to walk Spanberger and put the tying runs on second base. But based on the last 5 days that he has had, the thoughts on Spanberger have changed drastically.
As they finish off this walk, a couple more tickets have just been punched. Oklahoma State steals a bid. They win the Big 12 title. Radford wins the Big South, their second NCAA tournament appearance. And San Diego State is going out of the Mountain West, their 4th trip in 5 years.
Oklahoma State is the 8th seed in the Big 12 tournament.
What a run.
Bases loaded here. Luke Bonfield is 0 for 4. He's without a hit now in his last 6 at bats. He's the 3-hole hitter for Arkansas, and he can do some damage. How much better is this matchup for Newman considering stuff?
Significantly better, because he wants. It's a lot tougher with a left-hander in there to see the really good slider that Newman has. You could see it here and will see it here against Bonfield at some point, especially if it gets into a plus count. You're not as worried about hitting him because most of the movement on the breaking ball is going to take it the other way. We'll see if Bonfield gets aggressive early, tries to guess first pitch. If he guesses right, one swing by Bonfield could end this thing.
The intentional walk also gets Spanberger out of the game. Jordan McFarland on to pinch run for him. He represents the winning run. We haven't had an SEC championship game walk-off since 1995 when Alabama scored on a wild pitch to beat LSU. Oh, Tony Vitello, watch out.
Here comes the breaking balls.
LSU has won 11 SEC tournament titles. Arkansas has yet to win one. Their last tournament championship in league came in 1985 when they were in the Southwest Conference. Spanberger can cheer now, but that's it.
bet that he sees another slider right here. Newman gets back to 2-1. He probably comes back with a fastball. Sit slider right here if you're Bonfield.
That's what you're going to get. And I think until you get to 2 strikes, if you've got the correct book on Newman, you know what you're going to get right here.
And the slider misses. 2-1. It'll bring Papierski out.
Now you sit fastball?
I don't think so. I think he's got a better chance to throw a strike with his breaking ball than he does with his fastball. I think if your pre-pitch plan, if your pre-AB plan was to look for the breaking ball, I think you stay there until 2 strikes.
Bottom of the 9th inning in a championship game, a 2-1 count for Luke Bonfield with LSU's closer Hunter Newman on the mound. To the left side, Kramer Robertson comes around to third for the force. It's a dandy dozen for LSU, their 12th SEC tournament title. There may be a few more dog piles for this LSU team before the summer is over. They had to hold off a pesky Arkansas bench. The senior leader, Kramer Robertson, had the at-bat of the game in the 4th inning. He's standing by with Laura Rutledge.
All right, thank you. And Kramer, let's go back to the 4th inning. You have a 9-pitch at bat to get a single that gets the rally started. How were you able to get things going for this team?
I put myself in a bad spot there, getting down 0-2, but I was just trying to battle, find a way on, and fortunate to find a hole there, bloop it in. And Cole and Antoine and everybody else behind me came up with bigger at bats, and got those runs in. I'm just so excited right now. This is awesome to be a part of again.
You had an interview around April 25th talking about how you needed to take responsibility and play better. This team has gone on a run since then. Now you're SEC tournament champs. How did the rest of the team rally around you?
I think it has nothing to do with what I said. Those are just words. We had to go out there and get the job done, and I couldn't be more proud of these guys. We went out there, and our pitchers have pitched awesome, and we've played with a sense of urgency, and couldn't be more proud. It's our 3rd championship of the year now. It has nothing to do with what I said. Those are just words. We went out there. We didn't make excuses. We didn't point fingers. We owned it, and we're SEC champs now.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
It's now an 11-game win streak for this LSU team, and they look like that win streak could carry them all the way to Omaha.
Yeah, for me, I think the biggest thing is the way the pitching staff showed up and performed here. Yep. Lang, Poche, and Walker, we know about the offense, but the starting pitching was outstanding for the Tigers.
No, I agree. And you looked at both sides of the diamond right here. You got 2 clubs that we could absolutely see in Omaha this year. They're 2 national title contenders. And after a long week here, boys, we got a real good one to end it.
Absolutely.
12th SEC tournament championship. It all came down to this. Fitting that it ends up with your senior.
Yeah, fastball right down the middle, and Bonfield just comes over the top of it, and a wise play right here by Kramer Robertson to go the short route. And look at the crowd and the players. The emotion of an SEC championship, you got to love it.
It came down to the 9th inning. The slugger was walked, and that paid off for Paul Maneri and LSU. A championship game in front of 13,128. Selfie time from Hoover. LSU wins its 12th SEC tournament championship. Time now for a Gatorade bath for the coach, who's trying to win another national title as well. 4-2 is the final. The Tigers get 3 in the 4th, and that's the difference in this game.
AD's a little cooler than he was a minute ago.
Sports Center's coming up next. Our final, LSU 4, Arkansas 1. For Laura Rutledge, Chris Burke, Kyle Peterson, our sensational ESPN crew. I'm Tom Hart. Thanks for being with us. Coming up next, it's Sports Center.